All right, everybody. We got episode 22 live now. We got Frank from Nutter Fort. So we're gonna basically just do it the way we always do. We're gonna let Frank come on. He's gonna give us his story. Give us some maybe you know some extra stuff like always.
Mhm.
We always try to get our guests to open up a little bit about certain things, and obviously in the chat, no bad questions, nothing like that, like normal. So go ahead, Frank. I'll let you take the floor a little bit.
All right. My name's Frank. I'm with Nutter Fort Fire Department, Harrison County. I'm a lieutenant, and I've been with the department since July of 2007 as a junior firefighter.
So, Frank, like, do you have any family in the fire department, or is this something that, like, you had some friends or whatever that, were in it and kind of sparked your interest? Or are you, like, a generational firefighter? Or,
My late uncle was a firefighter in Anmore, Harrison County, and he passed away when I was 9 months old. He was injured in the Marines and was a quadriplegic. So ever since he passed away, I started looking through his stuff and belongings and whatnot. And since I was 2 years old, I wanted to do this. So here we are.
yeah, so you have, like, people, like, have you talked to people and stuff that, like, knew him when he was in the fire service, anything like that? Like, shared some stories?
Yes. Hmm.
Which, obviously, you didn't know him, right? So you're not 9 months
No, I
old,
have no
so.
recollection of him now.
Right, obviously, and it's probably that was probably awesome whenever you were able to make contact with somebody that ran with him and could share some backstory on him and stuff like that, like share some of that history.
Right.
So, about how old whenever you actually started to kind of like spark an interest, like where like it take any field trips or whatever? Like obviously I knew you had like an uncle and stuff, but like did you go to the firehouse or anything like that, like on a field trip, or you just like to see, you seen fire trucks drive by and it just kind of got in you, or what happened?
I have an obsession with fire trucks, fire memorabilia, that kind of stuff like that.
Okay.
So I traveled around, and then I went to a daycare center in Nutter Fort, and the fire chief at the time was dating one of my teachers there and whatnot. So of course we were just always around it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, yeah.
he was like Mr. Rogers. Everybody knew him, respected him, and whatnot. So just he took me on. I was 14, and no common sense, sheltered lifestyle. Wouldn't even say poop, and here we are today.
Yeah, what happened, right?
Exactly right.
It's it's weird. It's like, and I don't care because it's not. I don't even know if it's socially acceptable anymore to say it's a boys' club, but it is, right? It's weird because you get a mix of so much personalities, and it's a place where you can kind of open up, right? It's a
Right.
place where guys that may not even talk to people at work, don't talk about certain things around their family members. As soon as they get to the firehouse, you know, mouth wide open, right? It's weird how you feel. It's like a second home. How like comfortable you feel. So obviously you said you started out at 14, so obviously that would answer my question. Another four, you currently still run a junior program, or
Yeah, we do. We have two juniors right now. We just had two become full firefighters, and they're both fully
awesome?
certified, ready to rock and roll. Um, which we always kind of preach to everybody in the young age. You know, get your classes training now because life happens with jobs, school, education, family plans, and whatnot. Um, get what you can now. So they're all certified, ready to go, and they're doing pretty good so far.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It is. It's. I really tip my hat to a lot of kids these days that are wanting to get into it because the requirement is like insane, right? Like it is getting, and it seems like every year they're adding hours on. So I mean, it's awesome that there's still kids that are interested and stuff because you know now I'd look at it and be like, how would I do it, right? Like, how am I supposed to, you know, be a kid, have fun and stuff, but then still required to take 140-hour class, and then
Exactly.
that's just to get on the fire ground. That's just to get on the truck. That's not even to do any
Right.
cool stuff that you really want to do. That's just like
No
I don't want to say
sports,
boring stuff,
academic
but like,
clubs,
right.
no nothing like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's awesome. And you guys have a pretty steady junior program going on. Like, Like once
Yeah,
you get
we've
some kids retire, graduate from that and go, you normally have some kids take their place.
yeah, but unfortunately, just as everywhere else in the state is, there's not enough to fill the shoes of ones that are, you know, retiring, don't have the time for it
Hmm.
anymore, or whatnot. It's just recruitment in the state is just it's getting pretty scary. That's there's no other way to put it.
It is, man. It is. We are actually in a really good situation. We actually now have more people running and putting applications in than I've ever seen. I remember when it was me, our now assistant chief, and maybe another person that we'd get a work instructor fire and we'd maybe be the only people that show up. And now we're taking two trucks, and they're full. And it's like I was just talking with Chief the other day, and um, he's like, not to talk trash on you guys. He's like, but this is now an exciting time to be a chief. He said because I have, like, I can, really kind of do my job. Before, he's like, you guys kind of already knew what you're doing. He's like, I would kind of, I wouldn't have to micromanage as much and stuff. He's like, you guys kind of knew what you're doing. He's like, but now I have these new people coming in. He goes, we're doing a bunch of trainings. I'm setting up a bunch of stuff. He's like, this is an exciting time to be a chief. He's like, it's no offense to you guys, but it was weird when we had like four people. He's like, but now that we have all these new people and they're interested in stuff, he goes, like you said, it sparks a bunch of ideas on different things that we can do. And kind of when you don't have the manpower to do certain things, you kind of have to tone that down a little bit. But,
I agree with that.
so 14 years old, you join. You make friends immediately. Obviously, you knew your chief. Did the guys take in pretty good?
The guys up there have known me basically all my life and whatnot. I was just like the little special boy with a fanny pack with a camera, wanting pictures of fire trucks, basically, and they just took me in and taught me, gave me guidance and leadership, and here we are today.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's I've talked about this before. There's nothing worse when you have um new firefighters come around and they walk into like the lion's cage, right? Like you got these guys that are very unfriendly and they're kind of moping around, and you got this new person who is kind of shitting their pants. They're like, I got all these guys around. There's all this new stuff going on. I don't know what I'm doing. And nobody takes the initiative to say, like, hey, like, this is how you do this. This is how you do this. This is how you do this. So, like, it's terrible. And I've seen it at other firehouses where these guys bitch and moan about, oh, nobody's joining, nobody's doing this, nobody's doing that. But like, how many times have you maybe had somebody from the community stop by and even want to see the trucks, and nobody jumps up to go help them do anything? They're like, oh yeah, if you want to see them, they're there. Well, why the hell do I want to walk around and look at the truck myself that I have no clue what I'm even looking at? You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like, and but then you have the same guys that bitch and moan about, uh, like people don't want to join. So I've always been one of those people that I'm very friendly. My wife always tells me, I don't know a stranger because I talk to a random person standing next to me, try to make a conversation. But I think that every firehouse definitely needs one of those people that's going to take the initiative for the new person that comes in. And you don't have to be an officer, right? Like people think that just like that's always an officer role. You could be just a senior guy there that's just like, you know, kind of takes somebody under their wing and kind of shows them the ropes.
And then also, I do believe some of that, to an extent, is I think this generation now, um, in the fire service, if you're not fucked with, you're not liked. I mean, there's a difference always between hazing and just being fucked with, but I think some folks don't know the difference between that and whatnot. So I think it also causes some tension, hard feelings there that think they're picked on because they're not liked, but in reality, we do. Just unfortunately, like everywhere else, it's just kind of one of those things where Yeah, somebody wants to join. Where's my T-shirt? Where's my pager? I want to start
Yeah.
running calls, but they don't want to put in the time, put in the work. Do the truck test, take your training, come to drills, come to meetings, come to fundraisers. They just want everything handed to them, and unfortunately, we're not about that.
Yeah, it's I think we're in a weird stage, right? Wow, somebody said wow, such foul language. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you about it. It's the way it
Who
is.
was it?
Uh John Gazillo.
Oh, that's one of our guys in the fire department. He's one of my good friends. So,
Well, he can get the fuck over it. Um but see, that's what I'm talking about is like you know, the whole fucking with thing. And like it's weird. You definitely have to draw the line, right? With like, especially with these new people, like you said, you know, definitely miss with them and stuff. But it's really weird, and I've started to really notice it a lot more. Whenever I came in, I got my balls busted all the time, right? That was a normal thing. Like, and even if like um, I definitely think there's a time and place for it. But if like you'd fuck up on a call, right? Like someone's gonna be like, "Yo, what the fuck?" That's not the way we do shit. But like I'm also not one of those people where I think that on the fire ground, if somebody fucks up, somebody starts yelling and cussing. That is not the place, not the time for it. Like that's come back to station, then let them know what's up. But now I think this is a really weird time because I feel like people get their feelings hurt a lot more than ever, and I think it's getting worse as the generations keep going.
You're right. Real quick to answer one of the questions in the comments here.
Hmm.
EMS is doing pretty good. We have 3 ambulances now, all advanced life support equipped. We still do one truck 24/7. We strive to provide the paramedic around the clock to be the best. We offer an 8 to 4 truck as well as a 4 to midnight truck, and we're talking about putting another truck on weekends, day shift. So we're doing pretty good. We're probably, I'd say, probably 60% transports, 40% 911 calls. Um, like I said, we're doing pretty good. We got a good group of guys working for us and whatnot, and most of them are cross trained the fire department, so it benefits all the way around.
Yeah, no, that's that I seen that question and I was like, so it's weird. So was it weird? And we'll kind of go back to like your career. I
Oh,
kind
you're
of
fine.
stray off, right? So when you guys first started and this is always a touchy subject with certain people, not you like your department specifically, but like in Mon County, you guys started your EMS service up right about the time when Star City was going bankrupt, right?
We opened up our doors November 28th, 2022.
Okay, I don't even know when they went bankrupt. It had to be around that time or shortly before that. I want to say, and I don't know if this is something you can answer. Did when you guys were starting this up, did that ever like maybe come up in conversation like one fire department like based EMS service just kind of went bankrupt for whatever reason? Was that ever a fear in like the back of your guys' mind starting that up?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I left a job I was in a supervisor role in, had benefits, retirement, and whatnot to come help, organize our EMS service. And there was
Hmm.
always a thought in my mind, what if it doesn't succeed? What if we can't make it? But
Hmm.
we are very blessed with our city council and mayor. They've always supported the fire department, EMS, since day one. Um, but, we started out just 911 calls only. Of course, we all
Hmm.
know that doesn't pay the bills. So
No,
we
it's
started doing
just.
transports and whatnot like that. And
Hmm.
just took off from there. Um, we have a lot of good nursing home connections and whatnot. A lot of good hospitals rely on us as well for them. So it's going pretty good for us. We really have no complaints.
That's good. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I imagine that's a huge fear, right? Is hopefully nothing like COVID happens ever again. But like
Right.
I've heard that put a lot of EMS services like in the grave. There was, I guess, I was told at one time that during COVID that if you were doing a transport and it was like Medicare, then you were waiting 6 months for payment, which I guess that really put a lot of like EMS
Uh,
services in, because I mean, like, if I come paint your house, like I don't paint, but just example. Don't be hitting me up for messages. Anybody trying to even paint your house. Um, if I come to paint your house and you say, man, I don't have it. I gotta wait 6 months. What the hell am I gonna do? You know what I mean? I can spend a week painting your house, and
Right.
then I can't even pay for gas to go to the next, my next job. So I can see how that would definitely put a lot of people out of service if that was how much truth there is to that. But
And then I also think with the whole COVID pandemic, it really just put in perspective for some people where public safety stood.
mhm,
I mean, we were out there and whatnot. I mean, all the unknowns and whatnot, and we
sure,
just didn't care. We just did what we had to do. There was no like, oh, hey, sorry, you have this potentially deadly disease coming around, but you guys
yeah,
still got to go out there like nothing's wrong and keep
yeah.
doing it. So if you look at the state
And
numbers, I'm pretty sure it's when a lot of decline happened in the EMS providers and the fire service personnel as well. So
Well, yeah, because I mean, it's kind of scary at first, right? Like you were told, like you can track this thing. There's a pretty good chance you're gonna die. And then now, you can track this thing, and you have employers that are like, "Well, are you feeling sick?" And you're like, "Well, no." And they're like, "Get your vaccines," and you're like, "Well, yeah." They're like, "Well, just go ahead and wait about 2 hours. come, come into work late." Like, it's kind of
yeah,
crazy how it went from something that everybody would have thought like you were going to die if you were around somebody that had it to now it's kind of treated like less than the flu. Like it's
and not to
kind of
mention,
insane.
I mean, everybody else they've got families, spouses,
Hmm.
children. I mean, I've got a child.
Hmm.
My wife at the time was in EMS. She still's in EMS, so she was exposed to it as well. So
Yeah,
we took extra precautions to make sure we didn't bring home to our daughter, and my parents are elderly as well. That's our primary source of child care.
yeah,
So it's just there's all kinds of what ifs for during this pandemic because of the unknowns. It's not just yourself, but folks around you and whatnot. I've heard
yeah,
people say, I gave this to my family member and they died from it. So it just,
yeah. It's definitely it was a crazy time. I don't think that anybody, you know, yeah, I like when we're old men, we're gonna tell people about like so they're gonna say something about or these kids are gonna learn about COVID, you know, 30, 40, years from now, and and they're gonna be like, man, was it really that bad? You know what I mean? And then like I don't know, it's kind of crazy to be in that time period where that happened, and then how much, like I said, that you were literally had people convinced that if they contracted this thing off of somebody and you didn't even know if you could contract it or not. You know what I mean? They were like, well, some people can get it, some people can't, some people get it easier. And then you're like, well, I still got to go to work, right? Like I'm considered essential. Like if I don't go to work, they're gonna fire me.
we are in that will state. So it's,
Yeah, yeah. So it was insane. I mean, you had some places that were like, well, um, we're gonna give you this 55-gallon drum of hand sanitizer, and you carry it around with you all the time. And as soon as you come in contact with somebody, you use it, right? That was like the whole
yeah.
answer to everything was like hand sanitizer. I mean, you could go to any store and you were buying like those gallon drums of hand sanitizer everywhere. Like
Yeah.
it was insane. Like at this point, I don't even really know if hand sanitizer works on me. I feel like my body's like immune to it.
I don't use it. I just wash my hands. I really just wash
Yeah.
my hands with, that's what I do. I don't,
But yeah, so 14 years old, you came into the firehouse and the guys, kind of took you under and stuff. And then once you became 18, I assume that's when you started to get more into your classes, or did you kind of start them while you were in the junior program, or
I started when I was younger. By the time I was 18, I had Fire 1, Fire 2, my hazmat, um, my auto extrication, a couple other classes as well. I turned 18 during my EMT class, which led to my career now.
yeah,
Um, and I may be, 31 years old, but I still go to classes. I just took Sissonville fire class with some our guys. I met you with that alternative fueled vehicle class in Cassville. I'm not
hmm
against learning training stuff because it's just everything's changing, and it's
no, no, yeah, no, we met at the school bus class, right?
That's right.
Did
Make
we
it
went to
happen.
school? Yeah. Yep. The school bus class, right? I have still not taken an alternative fuels class. I really want to take one. I just seen where they do one up at Fairmont, where Trinity Under Pressure did that, and I was like pretty impressed.
I will
Um,
say they do really good classes. I've taken their heavy rescue class, their alternative fuel vehicles class. I've taken
mhm.
the Bridgeport Fire Expo and whatnot. They do really good classes. They're pretty legit. I mean, it's a physically demanding class. I mean, you're gonna feel it. But
Yeah.
you're getting the good instructors from like Fairfax, from Michigan, from Virginia, because I feel it in order around here to get training, you need to go other places to get classes. So to go to fire
Unfortunately.
school, Pleasant High, or whatnot, anything like just because around here you can only teach the same thing so many times.
And they only want to offer the same thing all the time, right?
Right,
I
exactly.
bitch about that all the time. How like all this money is pumped in, and like I don't think people realize how much money is kind of thrown at some of these PSDs, and like sometimes they don't really use it. And like I always bitch all the time. And don't get me wrong, I know you're in the EMS, but every single goddamn week it's like they're doing 3 EMT classes at the same time, and I'm like, that's fine. I understand that. I'm like, but like we also on the fire side, like we need different classes. Like having the same goddamn classes all the time is not helping people advance their careers. Like
Right.
so I'm like, you guys have got to think out of the box. If the PST cannot get instructors to get certified in this, they need to like contract it out to some of these agencies, like different agencies, to do it. I don't know how they would go about doing that, but they need to, because I waited probably
Mhm.
5 years to take a vehicle tech class. I'm like, why am I waiting 5 years to take something like this?
Right.
And
That's
it's insane, right? Like that school bus class that we took, um, that was the first school bus class that I've ever seen posted since I've been in the
same here.
fire
Yeah,
service, and
correct.
I'm like, this is insane. Which, if anybody's listening, I did hear through the grapevine that Mon County Bus Garage is getting rid of 2 or 3 school buses, and they're going to do another bus class soon. So people be on the lookout for that, because that is a class that I feel like I learned a lot. Right, like I didn't realize like how kind of shitty and kind of like weird school buses are. You know, you ride on them when you're a kid and stuff, and you don't ever think about it. You don't think about when you see them drive down the road, but they are literally sheet metal and plywood,
Right.
and you can't cut on them the same you can cut on cars. Like there's not the same kind of support. I mean, this thing is like a Pringles can. So, but yeah, so that's enough of my rant about the local PST.
Oh no,
But
you're fine. It's you're fine. It's
like it's insane to me, man. And I brought it up like 8 different times. I've waited. Westover is on on the rise, and we're getting a lot more commercial. Um, things going on, and where they're looking at building a lot of bigger hotels and stuff. We have the West Ridge going on, and I have been asking now for a steady year, where can I take an elevator rescue class? I'm like, that is one of the things. Like I don't want to say this and it come off wrong. I would rather take my chances cutting a car or whatever without like strict training or whatever, but I'm not going to try to perform an elevator rescue without having training on it. That is like something that you can't make a mistake on. Like, it's a very serious thing, and I've never seen, except for City of Morgantown put a class on, but they by the time they filled it, there wasn't any other opportunities, and I was also told it was like $40,000. So, like,
I
there's
can see
got to
that.
be something. Yeah, there's got to be something done, because I don't know. I've never even. I obviously I've drove past it before, but I've never even got off or whatever and drove around. I'm sure you guys have elevators there, right? I mean,
We have a few commercial buildings in our first two area.
hmm
Primarily, we have the elementary school, which is one of the largest this side of the country. I
hmm
believe daytime population during school hours is 1,300 people just in that school alone.
hmm
And our town population is approximately 1,600. So
okay.
you have just basically our population for the town in that school at during school hours. So
hmm
it's a lot to think about.
Yeah, and so like an elevator rescue comes out, right? Like, and there's kids trapped on an elevator, which to me is really serious, right? Even more than if a grown up is to me. Like I always take like with kids, I always take the situation like way more serious. I don't know, that's just the way I am. I have a kid, so
Yeah.
fatherly instinct kind of kicks in,
When you have
and we
when you
get
have kids and you're a parent, it definitely you treat
right,
kids calls a lot different. You're right.
right. So you get this elevator rescue call and you're in the back of your head like, wow, we go there, how many people here are actually certified to be doing this, right? It's like a very serious thing that there's lack of training on, huge lack of training. I mean, they're essentially, these people were inside of something that one wrong mistake could drop you know from the top floor straight down, and nobody can prevent it, nobody can do anything about it, you can't stop it once it's done,
Right.
and there's literally no training out there. So that's like something that's definitely got to be looked at.
Or then in the same hand, yeah, that's great. You have a class open, but
Mhm.
are these departments going to be able to afford to send their
that
members and the
that's
travel and
true.
whatnot? Because
That's true.
some of these departments are barely scraping by as it is right now. I mean,
Yeah,
everything you put fire EMS or law enforcement on any price of anything, you
I
jack the
know.
price up 3 times as much.
Yeah, that's true, right? Like a
And
block of metal, right? When we were looking at TO9s, like I don't know if you're familiar with TO9s, like
yeah,
TO9 steel, like yeah, like that little piece of metal is $1,000,
$700.
or
Yeah.
yeah, right, $700, and I'm like, you can go to any local fabrication shop and probably have it made for $100, $200 max, like depending on what they're going to charge you. And then since it was patented and it was for the fire service, they're like, boom, $700. Either you pay it or you don't have one.
Right.
And I'm like, this is insane, like really insane. So obviously you're talking about, you obviously took a huge interest as soon as you got in. You started taking classes, so you kind of sacrificed some of your childhood there for something you knew that was going to pay off in the long run, but it was something you really liked to do. So that right there kind of, and then look how much of an asset you are to your department now. So that's why, like, I know there's some departments that don't have junior programs. I think that if you have good structure, you definitely have to have strict rules, right? Because I mean, somebody is loaning their child to you with the expectations that you're going to protect them and you're going to keep them on the right track. And that's a huge liability, having somebody's kid.
We have curfews. They're not allowed to stay on school nights unless it's clear with the fire chief.
Mhm,
Curfew's 10 o'clock during the weekends. I believe it's 11 o'clock in summer nights.
mhm,
You have to have I believe, at least a 2.0 GPA to be in the fire department or whatnot.
mhm.
If you don't meet that, basically you're done until your next report card comes out. It's
Yeah, which is the way it should be, right? I mean, you're student first. I mean, this is as far as us, like, we're volunteer. Like, this is a volunteer thing. Like, this is not like if you don't graduate school, then, you're definitely starting to go down a bad path. We definitely don't want the
right.
fire department to come in front of your education. The only thing that's
Abs-
doing is hurting us. So yeah, but like I said, you definitely got to have some strict rules. But I think that if you don't have a junior program, I think that that's something that department should look at. I mean, that's how a good way to get kids in there and kind of shape and form them how you want them. And then by the time that they're really able to help, be in a beneficial situation, they kind of already know your expectations and the way that you do things.
right. Exactly.
So yeah,
Because
so
everywhere.
definitely.
I mean, there's obviously the ground rules of, hey, here's how you put a fire out, but here's
Sure.
what our department's way of doing things. And Westover
Mhm.
is not going to be the same as Nutter Fort. It
Right.
just doesn't happen like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, even as weird as certain ways are about, like, we have guys now that, we know what truck we're taking and what type of call, where that call is. I mean, because, we're not gonna take the same truck to a third due structure fire out of the county, out in the county, that we're gonna take on a first due in the city. We definitely base things, and that's literally how our SOGs are set up on what kind of truck we're taking and everything. So it's good that we can kind of get kids in. They understand that, they know what's expected. So whenever they get off the truck or whatever, they kind of know what to do.
You said that as well. Our SOGs and stuff stay in there, apparatus to run this amount of call, but we leave room for
Hmm.
officer discretion as well.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we have a truck that's 500 gallons of water, but if it's 10 o'clock in the morning on a Monday and it's 95 degrees outside, am I going to take a truck with 1,000 gallons of water and AC for a mutual aid structure fire? Or am I going to take the
Yeah.
other truck when I'm not guaranteed who's coming for help? If we have two guys on the truck, three guys, or we have to go to a second or third alarm just for manpower to even get minimal staffing to
Yeah.
attack this fire, do what we got to do. You got to love rehab guys out like we're supposed to with the monitor and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's during the day, it's like the wild wild west out there, man. Because that is like everybody's at work, right? It seems like every volunteer firefighter works like 7 to 3, whatever. Like it seems like that is your bare bones crew during the day. After 3 o'clock, you can stack a truck no problem. But
It depends, it depends on the day. Some days like tonight we had over 10 or 11 guys shift for an in-town box
yeah,
assignment. Some days during the weekday, time on our weekend, we may get 3 or 4 guys out. It just honestly depends because people have lives, they have kids, they have camps, they go on
yeah,
vacations.
that's true. Volunteer, right? So it's that
Exactly.
that
It's
that key word really hurts you. You know what I mean? Like in the long run, like that really does hurt you, and you never know what kind of response you're going to get, and that is also comes into a huge play on how you do your dues. Like how like your responses are and stuff. Because I'm not gonna lie to you. During the day, we may not always follow what our second or third due is supposed to be initially. I mean, if our second due, we know that they never get out during the day. We may have them toned, but we also may have third due toned also. Just that way, we know that we're going to get some kind of a response, and not 10 minutes after the second due got toned out. So, depending on the day, it kind of changes things. This is the huge thing that's going on in Mon County now, and I don't really know about up there, but a lot of departments are getting like automatic tone, like they're getting dual toned on calls all the time. So like, or it's also based like during the day. Like this isn't a thing, but we'll just say this has been in the talks before. That like during the day, if Star City would get a call, um, any kind of a medical rescue on the interstate, we'd automatically be toned on.
the only department really that's dual tone is us in Stonewood because we have
Yeah,
something called the Quiet Dell Fire Protection District. We share um, I-79 between the 114 and the 116, Quiet Dell, Route 20 past Bell Meadows Country Club, all the way to the Barber County line and whatnot. We share that area together. We're dual response for any kind of medicals, tree downs, fires, MVAs, and just it works out because at the end of the day, no department could really handle that area by themselves because some days they can get out with more than we can, or vice versa. It's just kind of one of those things where it's.
it's for the greater like good of the community.
And then we have good relations with Clarksburg and Bridgeport fire departments as well. Bridgeport's our initial box assignments for our city limits, and then in Clarksburg, it's. I don't know about you all, but like if I walk out of my house and under Fort sees a smoke cloud for a fire somewhere, I'm putting Clarksburg on the call just so I have manpower coming to me. It's
Yeah,
just.
I can't say the same in Westover or in the city. That uh, I don't want to say like I don't want to like put that out there and people get the wrong impression that we do, but like we don't have like the most outstanding relationship with the city, right? Like we run a tower, and the city could care less that we run a tower. They base their responses around themselves. Running 3 stations, they're most of the time they believe that they can handle whatever that comes on their own. So and we kind of base all of ours off of our mutual aid. So like we don't go into the city and they don't really come out into the county very much at all.
We don't really go in the city unless we're asked for.
Hmm.
We have before, like for special like calls, like for major fires, boat calls,
Hmm.
things like that. But for the most part, they will come out and help outside their city limits if needed. They've expressed that they were, and Bridgeport as well. Bridgeport was put on our assignments for a ladder truck when we had no ladder truck, so we never took them off because it's guaranteed at minimum 2 guys, and you're going to get guys that are trained, going to work, and we have a good relationship with them. They have a good relationship with us. It works out great for everybody, I feel like.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Like I said, I don't know when that all started or why that was never put on a table. Now there has been crazy situations like we had Frank's Arcade down the street that was a humongous fire. Like that was a huge, huge fire, and Morgantown was requested for their ladder. There was a bunch of talks before, over on 73. They had a 3 initial size up, I believe, was 3 townhouses, 2 of them fully involved or mostly involved. The third one starting to be mostly involved. And it was just a normal, response. And there was a lot of talks around why initially Morgantown was not put on it. That was like a huge thing that was brought up and stuff about like, well, if there was, that kind of a fire and you needed ladder trucks, why wasn't Morgantown's ladder truck put on that? And like some people said, Morgantown citizens pay a fire fee. They pay a fire fee for a paid fire department. Now, if their house catches on fire in the city limits of Morgantown, they expect the city of Morgantown to respond to that within, a pretty quick response. And if they need a ladder truck, they expect it to be on scene. They don't expect it to be in Westover or Granville or Cassville, because why am I paying a fire fee for my paid fire department to go pay, to go respond to somebody's house that doesn't pay it? So that there's like a lot of politics in that, and there's a lot of people that had that opinion on it. To me, I think that in the county, if a special apparatus or resources is needed, I think it should go wherever it needs to. That's just kind of my opinion on that. I think that it shouldn't matter if it's volunteer, it shouldn't matter if it's paid. Everybody is still citizens of the county, and if they need some kind of a response, I think that the department should look at it and say, "We're going to go." We've never had Morgantown ever. We've never had Morgantown ever come on the radio and say we're not responding, right? Because like that would be just absolutely ludicrous and would never work out in their favor. But we've never had that. But I just think that like everybody should keep that in mind, though. When you do have a paid fire department, they have an obligation to respond to the citizens first, really, that are paying for that service.
Yeah, we have a fire fee for our outside city limits area, and we have a fire levy in town. But we do a lot of mutual aid, honestly. Most of our calls come from mutual aid for the most part. All of our fires, basically. I mean, we'll go to Barber County. I've been on a fire almost in the Upshur County line on 20 before. I've been entry on a fire in Wallace before.
Wow.
It's just, we go anywhere we're asked for, basically. We're so centrally located. We're on the initial assignments for most of our areas around us.
Yeah, we kind of find ourselves in a weird situation like that too, because I mean, we're literally, if there's a fire in Star City, we're going to Star City. If there's a fire all the way out, like the Grafton Road, we're going out there. If there's a fire all the way out River Road, like I know some of these you may not be familiar with, we're going all the way out there. We're just kind of in a weird spot where we can kind of get anywhere quick or within a short period of time. The only places we don't really run fires is we have before, but it's kind of rare. All the way out Cheat Lake and on the Kingwood Pike, because they're like the only places that we don't go in Mon County. But yeah, I see all the time on Facebook. As soon as something's put out, one of those pages posts, who's responding, whatever, and I see you guys putting all kind of stuff. I'm like, damn, like man, Nutter Florida's like they're running from here to here to here to here. I mean, you guys definitely get a lot of work. What's a typical call volume for the year? I don't know if you know that offhand.
prior to the ambulance starting, we would average around 700 to 800 calls a year. That
Okay.
includes first responder, fires, wrecks, and everything.
Hmm.
Now we're basically down to, I'd say, probably 600-ish, like fire department calls a year,
Hmm.
and EMS itself is separate.
Yeah,
Obviously, if
because
the
you.
fire department goes with the EMS for a call, it's counted on the
Hmm.
fire side as well.
Right.
But last year we did 913 just strictly EMS calls, and the
Hmm.
fire department did obviously less than that.
Yeah.
But usually we average anywhere from 30 to 40 working structure fires a year. Usually about 3 to 4 extrications. Not something we do a lot around here, honestly. Um, but
It's weird how many people self extricate, right? Like you would think some of these accidents you go on and you're like, holy shit, you're rolling up. It looks bad.
they're dead. They're
Yeah,
ejection,
and or
something.
they or EMS advises you, or EMS advised dispatch, on your way there, like, oh, the patient's out of the vehicle, and you get there and you're like, how did you get out of the vehicle?
All
Like,
preparation, no H.
yeah, like how did you manage to get out of there? But yeah, I mean, obviously you guys are in a good situation, right? You guys definitely stay busy.
Staying busy with, you know, it makes it for guys to come around and whatnot. Keeps them the morale up, interesting calls or whatnot and stuff like that.
Hmm. And like also good thing is like, you guys kind of stay with the times, right? Like you guys, from what I've seen on social media, you guys update your equipment, you guys kind of look at what's needed and kind of try to respond to that. Like somebody said earlier, I thought they said
The
something.
ladder truck was
Yeah,
nice.
the ladder truck, right? Yeah. So went back to look at that. Yeah, like you guys 2000 2000 and what?
2021. It's a
21.
it's
Okay.
it's truck sub, but it's a Quint. It's got 500 gallons of water on it, 1,500
Okay.
gallon per minute pump. It's got hydraulics on it. It can be used whatever we need it to be used for, basically.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I didn't know initially if it was a Quinn or if it was just a stick or not. I was gonna ask you
oh, you're good. No, it's our next big things will be an engine right now. We're in the process of refurbing our utility truck. Just kind of try to save money because it's a good truck. It's been good mechanically wise. Dust just needs a little TLC from being beat up over the years. I mean, it's just kind of
and a lot of these companies are really, I see like pushing it out there, and a lot of people are biting on it. A lot of these companies are offering like pretty good price on these refurbs, right? Like you're taking. I know we've kind of looked before at one of our engines, and like a total refurb was between like 250, 300,000, and essentially you have a brand new truck. And when we priced new trucks before, around the same truck that we have, we're looking between like 800,000, $1 million, right? And when you look at 300,000, that sounds like a dream.
right. It's a lot of departments are going for that because, like I said, they can't afford it because I mean we have our gun bash every year and whatnot. I'm sorry, ultimate giveaway for Facebook standards here. That's our biggest fundraiser, whatnot. If we don't get that fundraiser, we don't have the nice things we have. A nice rescue truck, that nice ladder truck, or
Yeah,
our gear and whatnot. I mean, it's and some people try to do grants as well. I mean, all of the hose and appliances on our ladder truck was a grant through the Gary Sinise Foundation.
yeah,
Um, we apply for the forestry grant every year. We apply for AFG every year, so we got our air packs. We have a
yeah,
grant for gear this year. It's not like we're trying to drain our funds, but we have to do what's best because it's just we
sure.
have to give the times keep our stuff up to date. I mean, now we're in the process of doing a quote to update all of our rope rescue equipment, hardware, software, rope, and everything, and it's expensive because we've not
Absolutely.
you just that's for our boat trailer, add to our ladder truck and our heavy rescue truck. It's just kind of
Yeah, it's like you said earlier, anything that says like fire or rescue or like even EMS, right? Like some of the prices you guys pay for shit is on the EMS side is like absolutely ridiculous, right? It costs like literally nothing to make, and they turn around and flip a triple profit on you guys. Like it's insane. And on the fire side, right? Like you can you could go to any Walmart. You can go to probably the gas station and buy a $15 flashlight. And if you could go on a website online and find that same flashlight for 50 or $60 because it says that it's for fire rescue,
you're
and
right.
insane. And I have always said and been very vocal about it that I think the government does an absolutely shit job at regulating these manufacturers price gouging. Like, and they do. They literally, it's something that we're required to have, but yet one year it costs $100,000 for us to purchase, and then the next year you turn around and it's $140,000. And I understand inflation; that's a whole different story. But it doesn't. There's no way inflation went up $35,000. There's literally no way. So if you're going to make us have this, you've got to make it to where it's affordable. I mean, it's just and you understand that. Like it's kind of insane um if you would compare numbers to like I believe whenever that apparatuses are up like 140% right now.
If we would spec out engine right now, which we all, of course, table talk, we want this, we want that,
Absolutely,
need
yeah.
that, this. We're going to be probably at minimum 750K. At minimum,
Yeah.
probably for a brand new engine. And our engines are 2002 and a 92.
Yeah,
So,
and you're waiting
2-3 years for an engine.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2-3 years minimum. We were just making a joke about that the other day at the firehouse. Was you spec out right now a 2024, right? Because that's like what you would be on the board, or 2025 probably by now. You get the truck in 2028. Now every bit of equipment that's on that truck is now 3 years old. So by the time you get the new truck, it's not even new. All that equipment's old. By this time, they've already came out with something that they're charging $30,000 more for.
Exactly. And some departments can't outfit that new apparatus appropriately because everything's went up so much. I mean, we try to, any truck we buy, we want to upgrade it, new. Like ladder
Sure.
truck, we upgrade everything new. Our heavy rescue, everything was on it was new because,
Yeah.
in service new, keep it that way. But I
Sure.
mean, and that's, we always try to keep that. We want to make sure we have enough to equip the truck appropriately on top of having a truck that's going to be built to work for us.
Yeah. Wayne Ross made a good comment, but like that's like I'm even telling you, Wayne is like, here I'll post it so you can see it.
Yeah, you're fine. Sorry, I'm just on the. I can only see like what's on this.
Yeah. Hold on. But he was talking about um how they price gouge the government for like $30 screwdriver and stuff, right? But that just tells you how lazy the government is, right? Like if they're price, they don't care though. They don't care if they pay $30
No,
for
they
a
don't care.
screwdriver because they can afford it. We can't afford it, right?
No.
Like we're looking at air packs. Like that was something that we looked at, and to replace 30 air pack 60 bottles, new MSAG ones was upwards of $300,000. Well, you want to tell me one volunteer fire department? I don't care where, maybe Prince George County, Maryland, maybe, but like that can afford $300,000 for air packs. There's no goddamn way.
It's
No way. Like,
and you gotta like or finance or whatnot. Like some departments have to. Well, we can't afford all of them, so let's do 10 now and 10 in a couple of years. I mean, but it's. I mean, granted, it's got its pros and cons, but still, though, I mean, that's great. You have these new air packs, but what if your other air packs that aren't new start nickel and diming you, and then you're stuck with having to wait that long to replace them?
well, that's the same thing about new trucks, right? Is we run like our mainline engine that we run is in great shape, never gave us any problems, is a 94, right? And we runs great. We could buy a brand new 2025, like we said, you get a 2028 engine. We'll just say we get rid of our truck to be able to afford that truck, which these days the way prices are, they give you $10,000 for it. But um, then you get this brand new truck that now has all of these crazy safety features on it. And actually, I think I wanted to add it because you guys bought a new ambulance and wound up having trouble with it, right? Did you guys buy a brand new ambulance and then
We
like
didn't
had
buy
trouble
a
with it shortly
brand new
after?
ambulance. We bought a
Okay.
used one,
Okay.
and it turned out to be a lemon and whatnot, and just took it to the shop for this. Try to get this
Yeah.
part deleted because the maker still wasn't right, and
Yeah.
taking a bullet,
It's
and
crazy
just
though, like newer stuff, right? Now you could have probably
right.
bought a freaking 1990 freaking ambulance, and at the would have gave you no trouble. You could have driven from here to Florida in it.
Funny you say that. We bought a 1999 diesel 7.3 E350
Oh,
ambulance from a place called Somerville, PA.
hmm,
Had 20 something thousand miles on it. Uh,
wow,
Came with a stair chair, a manual cot, the auction bottle, main auction cylinder, all the radios and stuff in and whatnot. Um, we did our maintenance to it and whatnot, put a load system in it, started upgrade some of the lighting stuff, decaled it up
yeah,
for us, and it runs great. It'll
yeah,
probably outlast our two gasoline trucks that are there because they both
yeah,
have over 100,000 miles. And this truck we've had it for under a year and it's got 50,000 miles on it.
yeah.
So
But
it's,
what's crazy though is if you'd had a brand new ambulance by 50,000 miles, you could have had it, back at the dealer 3 times.
we paid
So like it's
20,
crazy.
we paid 20 grand for it.
That's crazy, right? Like, and
And
now if you'd buy a brand new ambulance, you'd probably know better than I do. You're probably like really specked out. Like, would you be at like $300,000-$400,000, or
for a
what's an
box
ambulance going for these
ambulance,
days? Yeah,
for
for
a
a
box
box. Yeah.
ambulance on a 350, 450, or 550, you're looking at least 300K.
God, it's a fire truck, right? Like, I mean, like
Yeah.
a regular average price of what a fire truck used to be, you are now at an ambulance.
You should buy a commercial engine for $300,000. Now, mini pumpers are even more than that at this point now.
Like, I know, like mini pumper, $400,000, almost five. Like, it is insane. Like, these prices are getting to the point to where, uh, nobody can afford it. Like, I mean, you're even going to have like paid departments that are not going to be able to follow these, and probably currently aren't following the standards that are put in place, because it's insane. Like, unless you're a humongous department that's going and buying, like Prince George County, like I said, I mentioned that earlier. Like, I seen where at one time they put like an order in for like 20 brand new pairs, and I was like, wow, right? Like, that's insane. But like then you come over here in West Virginia, and how many departments do you really see buying a brand new engine? And if they are, they probably haven't bought one in the last 30 years.
You're right. Or then if you have an older piece of apparatus and whatnot, the problem is, let's say you have a 1990 model truck. What
Hmm.
if something breaks? You can't find parts for it anymore because the department around here is
Right.
dealing with that right now. What do you do? I mean, you can't afford, the 6 digits going to be to replace it. I
Hmm.
mean, you hope to God you keep looking for parts for these salvage places and whatnot to
Hope
find a
somebody
part for the
wrecks one,
truck.
right?
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do.
Like,
And not to
yeah.
mention, on top of that, though, gotta keep gear in date. Get your packs tested, your hose tested, your
Yep.
ladders tested. Buy new gear. Truck maintenance, inspections, tires, oil changes, whatnot. And it's just not enough. And then you have the recruitment retention problem as well and whatnot. I think the fire marshal's office said that your average response for a fire department in the state's 3 to 5 members.
Yeah.
I mean, and the state's got over 400 fire departments.
I think I seen NFPA standard for a structure fire was suggest. I don't know if this is suggested or what it was supposed to be. It's supposed to be like 14. Like, you're supposed to have 14 firefighters on scene, and I'm like, you can go to you can probably go to one of the biggest fires around here, and if you freaking have 15 guys on scene, you're lucky. Like, it's
Some departments may not even have 14 guys on the roster, yelling active
I
members that
know.
are certified. You know what I mean? It's
I
like,
know, which is insane. Like, like, I was funny because I had Ben Tacey on, right, who runs at
hmm
Bridgeport, and I was talking to him about like their staffing, right, and like I believe he told me across all their stations and everything, including officer, they have 11 staffed, and I'm like, so
they
you're
are
not
busy.
even. I'm like, and you're not even meeting the requirement at the beginning of the day. I'm like, and then you get a working structure fire. You have your engine drivers. You have somebody drive an engine. I assume they're going to take a truck. You're going to have an engine company, a truck company. So then you're taking right off the bat, you're down to 9 people because you had 2 people driving apparatus. I'm like, and then you're having your officers there running IC. I'm like, and then you have guys outside operations, and then you have interior operations, and it's like you're bare bones by the time you really get
They are busy. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to take sides or anything, but they are
there. Hmm.
busy between all their ambulance calls, their MVAs, they do mutual aid for fires and whatnot. They are
Yeah.
very busy. I mean, it's insane. Some days it is like nonstop all day, and they just it's one after one after one after one. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's like I said, and it's crazy, right? And that the NFPA standard states that they are supposed to have, you know, three more people, two more people like on staff to even operate on a fire. That's never going to happen.
but
Never.
they do. They also mutual aid for their assignments as well. Minus obviously like fire alarms, car fires, that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
It's Clarksburg Fire, Anwar Fire, Nutter Fort, and Shinston's on their boxes as well for mutual aid as
Okay.
well. So you've got help coming. It's just when you get there and whatnot. But obviously, by the time we get there, they've got a good handle on the situation and whatnot. There's
Sure.
really not much for us to do, which I mean that's a good thing. I mean, if I'm paying a fire fee for somebody, I want them to take care of my problem in the safest and fastest way possible. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, like like I said, it's kind of insane, and that went back to earlier about how like everybody's hurting. Everybody's hurting for members, and it's weird because I feel like everybody kind of goes through a stage where they are, they get members, but this is really weird. Not everybody wants to be a firefighter, right? Like some people are there, they want to be in it, but they're not. They're not smoke eaters. They're not going to go inside. They'll tell you right from the start they're not interior, which that's great. You need people on the outside, but you have like less and less and less as our guys get older. You have less and less guys that are going inside. And like I've always been a firm believer, you got to be inside to put the fire out, right? Like that's just the way that I've always looked at it. Put the fire out outside. So you could have as many people join. You could have 30 people join, and that's fine. But if only two of those people are going to go inside, you still only have two interior firefighters. So that's only really helping you so much that you have 30 people join.
Exactly right. And like I said, that's great. They want to be auxiliary members to run EMS calls or help with fundraising, help with rehab. I mean, that's great. If they want to just join to run tree downs or that kind of that's fantastic. But it's
Yeah.
just we need members to do the actual fire department job.
Yeah,
It's
that's our bread and butter right there, right? Is like that's a whole reason that we're even there is for fire, right? It's in our freaking name. Like, it's in our name, and then so like I said, you run into that situation, and I'm not saying to like discriminate members from joining or whatever because that's not their cup of tea. Because I used to be like that. I used to have a mentality that that if you weren't going inside, don't call yourself a fireman. But now, as I've gotten older and matured a little bit, I do see that there is a lot of stuff that needs done outside, but it's still important to try to push and try to get people the training and make them feel comfortable to go inside. Because like some of that is a humongous thing where people just don't feel comfortable like that. I, the, I understand that you can only make it so real at when you're doing your initial training, but it's not what everybody thinks. You go inside of this controlled environment. The place is just smoked out. You have an instructor there and blah blah blah. But when you go to the real deal, you're in here tripping over grandma's fucking 75 books that are next to our nightstand, and then you roll over a couch. You can't see anything. You have no clue what's going on.
Mhm.
Like, and it's scary. You know what I mean? You go inside of some of these structures that you've never been into, and this place is going pretty good,
we
and
try
you
to
don't know where
we
you're at.
Yeah, we strive for live fires. We just did one this year
Mhm.
in Smithburg, Dodge County. They held us over their burn center. It was a great live fire environment. You had like sounds and whatnot. Stuff. It was just
Mhm.
really. And then we've done one recently in our area as well and whatnot for search and rescue, fire attack and
Mhm.
whatnot. Just kind of everything because it's just. I'm not saying like hose mazes and smoke mazes aren't a good thing, but they're not going to teach you what to expect, what should I real fire and whatnot. And we all know our Section 1 burn. Okay, there's a fire. Put water on it, but don't you dare put my fire out. It's just,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, and nothing
Or
against
a
my
cone, right? Or when I did mine, we had a cone, right? Because like you couldn't do anything. So it's like you're gonna go up here and you're gonna spray water at this cone, and I'm like, okay, cool. But then there's like three groups go through, and people are like, "Did you see the cone?" And they're like, "No." They're like, "We just sprayed." And I'm like, what the hell kind of training is this? Like, we're now training people to go inside of a structure fire, and we're going to have some of these people that are going to be going here looking for a goddamn cone. And
Exactly.
one thing is really, and it opened my eyes up a little bit, was we actually had a girl that they broke us up into two different groups. We had one that was going to go upstairs, make a knock on the fire, and then we had two that was their primary was search and rescue. So you had two that went downstairs looking for the victim, searching, and then you had two that was stretching the line up the stairs to make a knock on the fire. Well, the two that were stretching the line wind up getting the hose caught in the railing. Well, those two dropped the nozzle once they could not get it unstuck and left the structure and went outside. And the instructor comes out and was like, "What are you guys doing?" They're like, "Well, we couldn't get the hose. We don't want to be in there." He's like,
And
"Okay."
that's once again, that's all another reason why you have to go somewhere else for training and whatnot.
Right. Because you
Like
have people that want to be there, right? But you only have some people that want to be there because their department forces them to do it, right? That's you kind of run into that situation too, where they're like, "I didn't even want to fight fire. Like, I'm just here because
or
my department told me."
training, okay, don't leave this hose line or follow the wall, do a search. What is
Yeah.
that going to accomplish? I mean, Van search, oriented man search. I mean,
Hmm.
there's all kinds of other ways to do this here and whatnot. And they're not teaching that in Fire One class when, and
Yeah, they're
nowadays,
yeah. You will probably I think maybe in the textbook you'll read about like VEIS, and then I don't even think when my sister just took it, she never mentioned anything about it, right? And like now, if you would look at like the way that people are taught in the trainings, and this is all outside of like your training centers, there's so many people that are saved by
and then like,
VEIS, right? Like it's
yeah, or Andy Starnes, if you've taken a class through him with imaging,
I've not taken no. Andy is great, right? He came on my
he
podcast and
the instructor, right?
and it
Yeah.
was it was insane. But yeah, great guy, Joey Baxa.
Uh-huh.
Runs up there at Buchanan, great guy too. And that's kind of like they opened my eyes up to a lot of stuff like that too. Is like, because he even told me, and he talked about it on my podcast. Was like, I guarantee you, 70% of departments that respond in a structure fire never take their thermal imaging off the truck until they need it. And I was like, you're probably right. I think about that how many times I've been in a structure fire and I've never seen somebody have a thermal until we're overhauling looking for hot spots.
You're right. It's
Right? Like it's
and
insane
then
if you
it's
sit back
yeah,
and you think about it and you're like, holy shit, but like he said, like don't use it as a crutch. Don't sit there and look at it like you're looking through a telescope walking through the house. Use it as a tool. Scan with it, search with it, but like use your other trainings that you were taught. And
and then
like, yeah,
make sure you open your nozzle as well. I mean, it's
oh my gosh, listen, I had a conversation.
if
I've
we're
had that.
if I'm in black smoke and it's hot, I mean, we're opening the nozzle up. We're not going to wait. That's what you taught in section one. Don't open the nozzle till you get the fire room. Another thing, they're teaching us wrong. It's not. I mean, our gear is great. I get that, but I'm not trying to burn my gear, burn my helmet, melt my face piece to go try and be a salty dog and just feel the heat. I mean, it just because it's just not. It's not beneficial at all. It's And that's when you took that because we had you back to do an imaging class at Nutter Fort. I think it was 2 summers ago. Real good class and whatnot. Had a dollhouse fire and whatnot. Actually, learn to scan with it and whatnot, and how to. And it was a good class and whatnot. It just, I feel like today's Section One classes are not meeting today's day and age because fires burn hotter, faster now. You've got less manpower, less time to escape. It's just everything's running against you, and they're just thinking, "Okay, guys, go in this room, put water on this fire, don't put it out, don't open your nostril, get in there, search off the hose line." It's just, what is that going to do to somebody that's going to be in a fire? You know what I mean? It just,
I listen. I fully understand. I had a discussion with somebody in my department one day where I was talking about if conditions are like hotter than shit. Right? We make entry into this place, and this place is hotter than shit. I'm gonna make it more comfortable in there for me. I'm gonna open the lineup. Right? I'm gonna drop and like something that Andy talked about is I'm going to lower the overall temperature of that room by opening the lineup. And I had somebody in my department that was like, "Yeah, well, if you want to push the fire," and I'm like, "We're not going to get into this whole subject about pushing fire, right? If it's impossible for me, to survive in there, my victim doesn't stand a fucking chance. I'm in protective gear that's rated at high temperatures, right? I don't know. It's crazy to me. Like, there's still departments out there that's their SOGs, SOPs probably that don't open the lineup unless you're on top of the fire. Or it's another thing that we're taught sometimes, and sometimes we try to prevent it ruining a place over a small fire. Like, I'm not saying if there's a stove fire to go in, walk in the fucking living room and have the nozzle wide open, and flood the house. But if it's a working structure fire and you're inside, open the fucking lineup, right? Like, drop the overall temperature of the room down. It makes it easier for you, and like I said, somebody else that's in the house. I think we're kind of being taught a little bit too, like, about destroying. Like, we're worried about, like, protecting the house. Most of the time, it's the fucking house is gone. If it's a working structure fire, most of the damage is so severe that's why they have insurance too. But
And
like, that's my
that's
rant,
another
right?
thing.
But
Yeah,
I don't know if that's the way that, like,
and
he
that's another
looked
thing
at
as
it.
well. On top of that, though, it's like people want to complain. Oh, you guys took forever to get here. My house burned down. Okay, you live. There's apartments down south that they could be probably 40 minutes from their fire station.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I said, I'm not trying to. I live in city limits. I
Hmm.
could never live in the country. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think countries have beautiful views. It's beautiful. I think it's very peaceful. It's very nice. I, however, just could not do it myself. So that's great. You want to do that. I think it's fantastic. But at the same time, though, you have certain things you think about. You're farther away from healthcare, public safety, um, law enforcement, fire department, grocery stores, and whatnot.
Hmm.
So you really can't say too much when a fire doubles in size every 30 seconds and we get there and your house is on the ground or fully involved because you live so far away. It just, is that just me that thinks like that? Or, I mean, are you kind of with me?
No, 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 no. Like it is. I could never imagine. I literally live like if I had, if I was a quarterback in the NFL, I could probably throw a football and hit our department. So I have always normally been kind of for this and kind of not. Like, I think you should volunteer where you live. Also, I think it's kind of weird when you have people that volunteer
Exactly.
uh in something that it's not even their due. You know what I mean? Like you would be for your own department to respond where you live, you'd be like fourth due. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me to drive
Yeah.
somewhere
But at
15, 20 minutes to go to station and then whatever. So I think that normally, like, I think about that a little bit. Like, you should kind of volunteer where you live. But yeah, I could not imagine, especially been on some of the fires that I've been on, um, that if we got there, if it took us 40 minutes to get there, like, there's no way, like, that I could ever, like, think I did any kind of good if it took me 40 minutes to get there. So I'd be like, why the hell are we showing up for this structure that's going to be on the ground? And I'm not dogging departments that have, like, long response areas.
right,
But
it's
if you're
it's what
not
it
a quick,
is. Yeah.
yeah, if you're not a quick department to get out the door to begin with, you don't stand you don't stand a chance, especially with these newly built structures that are built with fucking toothpicks and recycled fabric. You know, I think before they used to say you had like 43 minutes or something fucking crazy like that to get out of a structure fire, and now it's like 6 minutes. Like, with these newly built houses, just the way that the construction is, and that's insane, right? Like, there's not very many departments that are even going to have a 6 minute response.
Or a single wide trailer with 5 additions.
What that too, or just a single wide trailer to begin with, right? Like, I mean, and I not to hate on anybody because, like, whatever. Like, I don't have a problem with trailers, but
Oh, no,
they're death
absolutely not.
traps,
No.
right? They're absolute death traps. Like, it is literally a Campbell soup can that somebody just took a bunch of paper and stuffed inside of it and lit it on fire. That is essentially what you have with the structure fire like that. And the chances of even getting a good stop on a trailer is very unlikely. But it's happened before. But I agree though. Like it's insane though. Like how if you look at like Brandon, we talked about Brandon earlier. I think if Brandon told me that or that they're uh one of their furthest dues, like for in their first due was something like 35, 40 minutes for them to actually respond to it, and I was like, holy crap! Like that's insane, and that's just responding. We're talking about them being a volunteer department that even if you live 7, 10 minutes away from the station, 5 minutes away from the station, it's taking you that time to get there. It's taking, I think, time to dispatch is normally 3 to 5 minutes is what I guess my understanding of that is 3 to 5 minutes from the time the call is taken to its dispatch, and then 5 minutes for you to get there, and then 2, 3 minutes to get your gear on and get out of the truck, probably closer to 5 minutes by the time you're actually on the road. And you're like 15, 20 minutes in from the initial call in of the fire, and then you're responding 40 minutes. It's going to take you an hour to get on scene of this fire. That is, to me, that's pretty insane. I mean, I think if I ran at a department like that, I think I would stay home a lot of fires.
It's like I said, unfortunately, it happens a lot, especially down south and whatnot. And more of the rural counties, I'm sure, like but
But yeah, that's just kind of my opinion on that. Like I said,
but the one I will say, where you volunteer in your area you live in, um, if my fire department wasn't proactive, wasn't aggressive, wasn't adaptive to the times and the technologies and whatnot, I'd go somewhere else as well because how much good am I actually doing if I'm still saying we fought fires this year for since the 20s, it's going to work now.
yeah.
What good am I really doing? You know what I mean? When it comes down to my safety, everybody else's safety, and whatnot like that. So I don't really get on people for doing that if they want to go somewhere else that's
To benefit themselves,
to
right?
fit, yeah, to fits,
Yeah.
benefits themselves, and I'm totally for that. That's nothing wrong with that at all.
What's your opinion on officers? What do you think about like? We'll throw that in there. What do you think about like? Because it's different from just having a regular firefighter, and then you're having somebody that's in charge, right? Somebody that's supposed to be there. I see. So, what's your opinion on that? If you have an officer that lives outside the first shift,
I mean,
because like because to me, obviously you have your firefighter, you hold them to a certain standard, and then you have hold your officers to a totally different standard. You want to hold them to the same standard you hold your firefighters to, but you kind of expect more out of your officers.
I guess I really can't speak on that because most of our officers live close, even if they do
Hmm.
live outside of our actual first due per se.
Yeah.
But they're mostly the ones you always see on calls and whatnot.
Hmm.
And our SOP state basically, if there's no officer on that apparatus, your driver acts as the officer of that scene until
Okay.
an officer arrives on scene. So we have that to fall back on as well. But
Yeah, that makes sense because I mean, uh, yeah, normally if you have somebody, just I can't say this for all departments. If you trust somebody to drive and be responsible for the apparatus, they could probably run the scene at least enough until somebody else there that has
because
more
not to
experience.
mention, we have a driver training program as well on top of that.
Oh, do you? Okay.
You have to have so many hours of day driving, night driving, pump time, have certain classes and whatnot like that. It's very, and even like riding qualifications as well. Like for our heavy rescue, yeah, even if you're going to Bridgeport for a structure fire, which is what you do on their box card, you have to have your Fire One, your Auto X Level One, and Rip Rescue Awareness Operations for that truck to even leave this. I mean, for that to go,
Yeah.
and you're leaving the station for anything. They want you to have at least an officer on that truck or two auto extrication technicians on that truck for it to leave. We try to implement because just it's if you don't know what you're doing, it could get you hurt, and it's
Yeah. So I agree. It is that is the last thing that the person's calling 911 wants is they think that somebody is coming that knows what they're doing, and they get the total opposite because nobody else was around, right? Like
right.
that is
Gra-
fucking scary.
I'm not saying I'm the best firefighter in the entire world. I definitely am not, but just it's just
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of I do feel confident. I do know. I do have a clue of what I'm doing. I definitely am not one of those ones they make YouTube videos about.
Yeah, yeah. Or get put on a Hifty page, right? Um, I don't know if you even know what Hifty is. You know what
Yeah,
Hifty
I
is?
do.
Okay, okay. But like, so I think that that's another thing. Like you kind of brought that up. Like, yeah, I remember when I first started doing this, and somebody came in there and was like, "What do you think the best fire department in Mon County is?" And I'm like, "What kind of fucking question is that?" You want me to say like this is the worst or this or this or this? Like, there's a lot of politics in that. But like, and I told him I was like, I think the best fire department in Mon County is my own department. And the reason why I say this is because I think if you give me a different response than that you don't think that your fire department is the best fire department in the county, then there's something wrong. You're running there, you trust these guys with your life and other people's lives, but you don't think that you guys are the best. Like to me, I don't think that's cocky by saying that. I think that like you honestly have to believe that when you're on that truck and your guys are responding, that you guys are the best and you're going there and you're going to literally do the best that you can to give this person whatever situation they're in the best outcome.
Absolutely. I mean, nowhere is perfect. I don't care where you are, whether you're
Right.
in a class one fire department or class nine fire department, ISO
Yeah.
rated. You're gonna have problems and whatnot.
Absolutely.
I've lived, slept, and breathed that fire department till I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of failed relationships, missed out, time on a lot of things. You live and you learn, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
it's you have to have confidence in your department because it doesn't just take one person to do it. It
Right.
takes a group. And
It does. It definitely does. Not what I honestly believe that. Yeah, not one person in the truck is going to make it.
right.
Yeah, is going to make that right. Like I don't think that when that one person shows up, like holy shit,
And
this
then I
whole
s-
entire scene is now saved because one person's there.
and then I see like people dogging like after a major incident, you take a group shot or whatnot. People say, "Well, that's so distasteful." How is that distasteful? I mean, as a team effort, you all came home safely, you got the job done, you do what you're supposed to do, and that's your second family right there.
Yeah, a lot of departments
We
do
do a
catch
lot.
flack for that.
We do a group shot after every fire we try to and whatnot. It just or every major incident, basically, because it was a team
Yeah,
effort. We did it and whatnot. Um,
you want to give the guys recognition that we're there.
don't have to recognition. Just hey, we did this together. We
Well, I
whether
mean, as much as like you letting, like, because most of the time you don't really care. This is a weird way of saying this. You don't care what the community kind of thinks about that. Like that's like kind of like a sense of pride. You guys are proud of each other, kind of thing. Like
right,
by taking this
exactly
picture
right.
together, right?
Like we. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say I never see anybody. I didn't want to see anybody lose their home, lose their loved one, get hurt, get in an accident, have to call for an ambulance. I mean, ultimately, we never want to see those trucks leave the station, but unfortunately,
Right,
that's what we're here for. As long as
right.
mankind's alive, we're going to be needed.
Disaster's
So,
gonna strike in one way or another.
exactly. So, we have to be ready for that and whatnot. And
No, I agree
it's,
with you. The only thing is like that, like, and I've seen your guys' pictures, and I'm sure like your guys' things. Like the only distasteful thing that I've ever seen, and not you guys, is like what I've seen people like departments take pictures in front of burnt down structures. And
no,
like
we don't.
that was like one I've seen that before, and I was like, holy fuck! I'm like, there's no way they posted that. And I'm like,
Right.
this is this person's whole livelihood,
Right.
in the back of this that you are now taking a picture in front of, like you're standing on top of. But yeah, I mean, I see that shit all the time. It's like guys post pictures in front of trucks, and to me, like they'll talk shit on it because you did it on a call. But what's any different than all you guys hanging out at the station and taking a picture in front of it? Then they wouldn't say anything, right? They'd never
Right.
say anything about it. Is
And
it
that's no.
jealousy? Is that what you think it is? Sometimes you think that just guys
Nah,
hating.
I don't know per se, honestly, but that's another thing as well. I do all of our social media accounts, the videos for the end of the year, the
Mhm.
website, the whole nine yards. I never post pictures of fatality incidents, whether it be a fire, an MVA, or a medical call. I always bleep out the license plates. There's no pictures in the pictures or anything like that.
Yeah, you try to
Um,
respect privacy.
yeah, and people say, they think it's distasteful that we're posting pictures of calls on there. Here's the thing: we are a combination fire department, primarily
Hmm.
volunteer. We rely on obviously our fundraiser
Sure.
levies and fire fees or whatnot. People, if we want support for our communities, they need to know that it's not just butterflies and daisies. Like, oh wow, this really happened close to home, and they were there and they helped. Like, wow, they really did a good job. They did what they're supposed to do.
Hmm.
It's not. I'm not trying to make someone's worst day of their life even worse, but I'm trying to, for training purposes, for public information purposes and whatnot. That's why it's there.
I think it's good community outreach. Like, yes, I'll comment on. I think it's good community outreach because we'll just say you guys have you have a levy in the city, right?
In our town, yes.
Okay. So my thing is you always have these people that are like, I'm fucking paying these guys. I'm paying this money. It's going to these guys, right? Like, and that you're always gonna have that. But it's also different when you have that same person. It's like I'm paying these guys, and they get on Facebook and they're like, damn, these guys went on like three structure fires and two wrecks and whatever in just a couple days, and they're like, well, holy shit, I thought these guys were just sitting around. Or
Exactly
like you
right.
spend with this levy money, they're like, these guys are just buying all this fancy shit that because it's cool. Well, they didn't realize that the levy money that you got gave you the availability to spend 20, 30, 40, $50,000 on battery extrication tools to cut their cousin that they didn't even know was in an accident out of the goddamn car, because she was texting her to cell phone. That money that small amount of money that was taken in taxes, that was given to you guys, gave you guys the equipment to be able to help somebody, right?
Right, exactly. Or hey, you know what? These folks exited this house safely because of working smoke detectors or
Yeah,
whatnot.
that you probably
So
give out, right? Like you got
yeah,
the community thing, yeah.
yes, did the American Red Cross sound the alarm, and I want to say we installed over 300 alarms in our town or whatnot, even
Holy crap!
possibly even more. And we're like, or a CO alarm. This is why you put CO alarms in your home or whatnot. Like
Silent
education,
killer, right? Like,
outreach, information, outreach, awareness, just kind of a lot of different things why we do it and whatnot. It's just kind of any more comments we need to answer or address or anything like that.
mm, nah, I'll post it and then you can see and then see it. Like if there's anything you want to respond to, I don't.
Oh, you're good.
Just that way if you don't or you do. So the way that it's really weird setup, right, is like the streaming platform that I have, and then I stream it to Facebook. It doesn't like reflect. I need to find a way to where the only thing is like I know that some people stream stuff, and like whenever somebody comments, it pops up. I don't want that because I don't want somebody to say some outrageous shit, and I'm trying to delete it, and it's saying it on the live.
What's the myth? I can't. What's the myth?
It just says Wayne Ross just said once posting pictures of bad car wrecks and posting it before the victim is even at the ER. The family has been informed. I think he was just talking about as far as it goes back to like he thinks that you shouldn't post pictures of
Oh, right,
bad
yeah.
car
And
wrecks and stuff before the victim.
we usually do a 24-hour delay on incidents for the most part. Usually, like major ones,
Yeah,
like entrapments, fires, that kind of stuff. We try to do like delays that way. After
yeah.
they.
That way the
But
family could be contacted.
exactly right. It's
No, I understand. Yeah, when I do understand that. I've seen people comment that before where they're um like yeah, like you're letting somebody like they're letting people find out before like their families even contact them. More people know about what happened to that person or whatever. But it's like I mean somebody driving by, honestly, there's probably more shit that's spread by somebody driving by and seeing it and going down to the local gas station and telling everybody,
for good old Facebook.
or good old Facebook, yeah, rather than if the fire department's posting it. But that's just my opinion. But
No, you're
like you
right.
said, I think it's good community outreach because it's free. It's free to post on your Facebook and let people know, like, hey, this is what we've been doing. Yeah, and and it's kind of a weird thing where it's like a sense of like security, like where like people feel like safe, like they're like, holy shit, these guys are going on a lot of house fires and stuff. Like if I have or because a lot of departments will post how long, like yeah, we had 5 guys get out the door within like 5 minutes and responded or whatever. And then these people are like, wow, that makes me feel safe that like if my house would catch on fire, they could be possibly at my house in 5 minutes.
Or these guys are going to training outside their area to better themselves or whatnot. You know what I mean? Just like you said, it's
Right, because some people probably think like, well, I mean, these volunteer departments were giving them all this money and then they're just sitting around. But like, that's not the case. Some of these departments are booming. Like, it's like I very rarely do we ever go a full day without getting one single call. That just doesn't normally happen. Like normally, even if it's a fire alarm, it's still something. We normally always get something, but there's probably still people in our town or whatever that say these guys just sit around all the time, or there's nobody. I remember I had this one guy one time that was I met him at an event or whatever, and he asked me what fire department we're in, and I told him. He goes, yeah, he goes, I was thinking about joining there. He goes, but I never see anybody there. And I'm like, what time are you driving around? And he's like, oh, no, like normally middle of the day. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, most of us are probably at work or whatever. I'm like, so you're gonna base your whole entire opinion on why you wouldn't join our fire department because you drove by a couple times and you didn't see cars there. The worst thing about our fire department is if you drive down the main road, we don't park in the front lot.
you park
We
on the
park
side.
in You're right. You're right. We always park on the opposite side. Like, um, and we never park like right there in the front of the building. So most of the time you drive by and you'd probably think there's nobody ever there. But what we try to do is a bunch of us guys, especially now, it's nice. We go up there, we hang out, we open garage doors up. That's like a huge thing I think that a lot of departments should do sometimes. They're like, you're there, you're hanging out there, open the garage doors up. The public, sometimes they drive by, they get to see what's inside of there. They see that there's people there, they're active, and stuff. And especially because a lot of people, especially kids, love driving by and seeing the fire trucks. Or it's another thing where people drive
Hmm.
by and they're like, man, that's a really nice truck. Then again, they think they're like, wow, we're giving them money and they're actually putting it towards something.
We've given 3 firehouse tours to kids in the last, I believe, 2 weeks.
Yeah,
So just
it's
just
huge.
having the doors up, that kind of stuff like that. I mean, it's and once again, there's some times where only our EMS crew is there. I mean, yes, our fire chief is paid business hours throughout the week,
Hmm.
and our EMS director also supplements the fire side as well. But there may or may not be volunteer,
Yeah,
firefighters there per se, but they will come. That's why we have pagers, we have
sure.
active 911 and whatnot. It's the
You guys
doesn't
like
mean-
active 911?
so far, yeah, we had I am responding for the longest time, and it fucking sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird, right? It's kind of weird. We're even still going through a weird stage too where we were getting like I used to get now I get double text messages. Like I used to get toned like if I turn my text messages off for whatever reason, I would still get a notification of the I'm responding. When I don't get anything, now I just get 2 text messages. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You ask about it, nobody has any kind of answer. Like, we're not sure why that's happening.
See, our active sometimes will actually go off where our pagers do and whatnot.
Hmm.
And for example, let's say we get done for a structure fire right now,
Hmm.
and let's say they want our tanker alerted, and they want, hey, headquarters hit our tone for tanker 7. We'll get another text, add tanker, or if we get a something like that, or like add engine for a fire or something, because we're on the initial assignment or whatnot. Says add engine. It'll say
Hmm.
we'll get another text for that as well. Um, Wheel of Actives, it maps out really well. It's really fast. I'm responding. We bought the TV they told us to buy, the same software and everything like that. It never worked right. It
The worst thing is that we have with I'm responding, and absolutely is so annoying, is every single time we go up there, if like somebody's not currently there, not every time, it's but very frequently we'll go up there and it is timed. That's my wife. It is timed out. Like it's completely timed out. You can leave it on Safari on whatever, and it
Mhm.
will not time out. But if you leave I'm responding on there, it will time out,
like it's
and
not
and it's a white
like it's
screen.
not supposed to.
Like it's a white screen. And
Right.
we're like, and then what's crazy is you'll try to refresh it, and then it'll say your internet's not working. But if you search something else, it's fine. The internet's working fine. But if you try to refresh I'm responding, it will not work. We've had to actually
It's,
clear it out and bring it back up. And I'm like, this is very inconvenient if I come up here for an NVA with entrapment or something serious at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm looking at this TV that's up here, as soon as I walk in the door, and I'm like, okay, cool. We have 3 guys coming.
it's
It's
right.
definitely frustrating. So that's something that I'll kind of look into a little bit of the active now one. But there's
We
honestly
love
around here, it's like primarily dominated. Like I'm responding, like everybody. Now my question is, if somebody doesn't, I kind of wish they talked to each other, right? Like the one thing we do like about unresponded is everybody around here runs it, so we can see our mutual aid response from their members too.
Hmm.
So that's like if we're we get a fire or we get a car wreck and we're both toned on it or whatever because of like most apartments around here, if it's entrapment, the second dude's always toned out. Automatic mutual aid. If Star City members posted they're responding, we can actually slide over and look. So that's kind of one thing I do like about it, but then there's also pain in the ass stuff about it.
So some departments don't even use anything because the county offers free text messaging. Like it just says like the address, what the call is basically.
Yeah,
So they just offer the free option because once again, they can't afford to pay this money
right,
for this app or whatnot because
right. No, I agree. Yeah, it's another thing that is an added cost. And
exactly,
and some
yes.
departments are trying to keep gas in their truck, not worried about like that. It's really funny because we actually one great feature about I don't know about Active Now One, like I said, because I don't know anybody that even uses it except for now you guys. Is I like that I can go in there and I can see hydrants, right? Like I can see
Same
like
thing with
mutual.
us.
You can't okay, so I can
Yep.
see mutual aid hydrant. Well, I actually had a chief one time tell me I was asking about. I was like, "You guys use responding stuff?" And he's like, "No," and I'm like, "There's a lot of good features about it, like I think like and stuff." And he was like, well, what would I need that for?" And I was like, "Well, I said it's nice. I said if you have like mutual aid coming in and on a fire and you want them to catch water so they can see where your hydrants are." He goes, "Well, I'd give them a piece of paper that tells them where every single hydrant is and stuff." And I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Yep, I understand that." I'm like, "You realize how fucking hard it is to try to find a piece of paper at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're driving down the
Or,
road?"
or what if the guy riding the seat is not familiar with the area?
Right, right.
Let's say he just joined here from, I don't know, Wetzel County, and he's
Right.
running to you guys. Let's see, I'm looking for hydrant at the corner of so and so street and Willy Wonka Lane.
Yeah.
I don't know where that is, so I'm not going to
No.
know where.
Yeah.
That's another problem as well. So we can map directions between Google Maps.
Hmm.
We have messaging. We have the same thing. Basically, I'm responding offers. Only I think it's way more user friendly. You
Hmm.
pay per seat as well, so you're in tiers for like so many seats for members and whatnot. So it's
Yeah, because I
like
think I'm responding just like what, like $300 a year or something like
I
that,
forget. Like I
or
mean, we have our police officers on it as well. Like they can look,
really?
because I mean, if it's an in-town call and they're on duty, they're more likely going to come just see what's going on and whatnot.
Sure.
Because
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just we get along good with our other departments as well, like Public
Yeah.
Works,
Yeah. Yeah.
PD, and that kind of stuff. So it's
Yeah, no, that's cool that you guys incorporated them on that. That's really good. We have a really good uh relationship with with our local PD also, which is nice, right? Because like there's nothing worse than being on scene with people that you don't like, but that neither you can leave, but you both have to be there.
right.
So that's like a weird situation, and I think like if anybody does have a situation like that, some leadership needs to sit down and try to resolve that because it's bad when PD trust us for the duties that we're there for, and then we trust them for the duties that they're there for, but then it's vice, but we don't. That's a dangerous. That's very, it's dangerous. Or if you don't have a good working relationship, they don't kind of know what you expect out of them. There may be a freaking something, a massive fire going on, and you only have two guys on the truck, including a driver, and you need one of them to help you stretch the line. You know what I mean? But like if you don't have a good relationship with them, they're gonna be like, "Fuck you."
Exactly. It's
Like, I mean, they could help you or you could help them. I mean, around like state code states that that PD is there for traffic control and scene investigation. Like fire department's there for scene safety, EMS there for patient care. Most of the time, most police agencies are unfortunately more understaffed than the volunteer fire department is, and they normally
no
have
one wants to be a firefighter, an EMS, or a police officer. No
no,
one wants to do it. It's
no.
just
So most of the time, PD is yes, they're supposed to be responsible for traffic control, but when they have one freaking person that comes to this car wreck, they're also in charge of, you know, investigating the scene for who's at fault and everything else. They can't stand there and do that while they're directing traffic, and they're supposed
right.
to be two separate people. So the fire department's kind of accepted that role, I feel like.
Yeah, especially when one deputy's on scene of this accident with entrapment, fatality and everything else, and then the rest of the shift's on a domestic call somewhere else on the other side of the county. I mean, you got to help each other out somewhere or another. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's kind of just went right back to what I said. Like, you got to have a good relationship with your local, like, even your public works, right? Like, there's been a couple times where we've needed pieces of the machinery to remove trees out of the roadway. There's not, like, we don't we don't have excavators, we don't have backhoes at the fire department, and it was a side street, and we needed some extra hands on removing a tree out of the roadway. So we got a hold of Public Works. They came out and they helped us.
Our captain's actually our public works director for our town. His
Wow.
brother also works down there. We have another one of our new young guys that's 18. He's certified. They all work for public works as well, and they will come
Mhm.
help us if they can. Obviously, if they're not
Right. Yeah.
obviously in the
Yeah.
middle of a project, water break. If they're not doing,
Yeah.
what I mean, just so sewer project, water break. If they can break free and it's something a legit call, they can break free and help us if need be. Which they've bailed us out a couple times. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be getting a truck out the door because how we talked about volunteerism is down because I
Absolutely.
mean, yeah, we have paid staff on 8 to 4. That's for the fire department. They have lives too. They have vacations. They can be sick. They can take time off to go do whatever they need to do. We can't control that. So it's just
Yeah.
kind
No, I definitely understand that. So we'll do from kind of try to get back on track. I want to keep you on it for hours.
of, you're fine.
So 18 started to be able to do stuff. I always ask somebody this, so I want to make sure. Do you remember your first fire?
Yeah, I do actually.
You want to talk about it? Is that something you want to talk about?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
well, you never know because some person's worst fire could have been their first fire. And, like, I always try to ask people stuff because I don't ever want to put people in the spot, and something that they don't want to talk about.
Um,
That's like my number one rule.
so see, I was like a month after my 18th birthday. I got out of school early because I was a senior in high school because I had all my credits. I got to leave at like I believe it was like 10 till 2. And this fire went out, I believe, like 2:45 or whatnot. It was for a second due fire. We were first in, single story ranch house, just fucking blazing. Um, and me and two of the guys that I've known basically all my life that took me when I was a junior and whatnot and taught me and whatnot. We made the first knock on the fire and whatnot. And then two other guys took our second line and I actually made the front page of the newspaper.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and this is when I was just prior to start working my first EMS job, Harrison County Emergency Squad. I made the front page newspaper and that kind of stuff. It was just a big giant joke. So, but I mean, it's
Okay. Were you shitting yourself?
no, I was ready. I was,
Were you? You're biting. You're just chomping at the bit, huh?
it's like it's like you get
Once
a
you get it right, it's hilarious. Is you get all these goddamn structure fires, all of them. When you don't have, when you're not able to go inside, you don't have the train or whatever. And then as soon as you get it,
or
it's
when
like it's freaking
you're not able to
fire
be there,
prevention week. Nobody's having fires. Like,
or when you're not
right.
able to
It's like
go, when you're
you're
working.
not around and there's four freaking working structure fires.
Yeah, you're like son of a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
That
it's
happens all the time. I feel like I'll leave town and I'm like, holy crap, we got a fire. I'm like, why did this not happen when I wasn't, it just seems like that's the way it goes.
right, exactly. But it was a good fire, whatnot. And then after then, just I've just been on. Obviously, of course, I've definitely became a better firefighter from that time to
Sure.
now.
Yeah.
Obviously,
I'd hope so.
yeah.
Yeah. Obviously the trainings.
Anymore, I'm just kind of the point where I'm an officer and whatnot. We have a lot of younger guys, and whatnot.
Sure.
I can let them take the reins, let them like go play and whatnot because we all need that experience. I was that young year rookie once that wanted to get the experience, to get in there, put the fire out, and these guys need it as well. And as an officer, it's also my job they come home safely because we've had a line of duty death once in our fire department. I'm not trying to have another one. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to call their mom, their dad, their girlfriend, their other family member or wife saying, "Hey, I'm sorry. There's a call today, and he's not coming back tonight." I'm not trying to be that guy.
Yeah,
So
that's the one call that nobody wants to make. So, like, yeah, like, you obviously take your responsibility as an officer very serious, right? And then you understand that, you know these guys trust you to make sure that if they
I
are
tr- and
putting
I trust
themselves
them.
in a situation that's not good for
Mm,
them, then you're going to
right.
recognize that.
And I trust them. If I'm around the city, hey guys, you guys are doing this, you're doing that. Let's ready to break. Basically, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I trust them.
You got to let your guys work, right? Like that's the thing is you can't stand
I'm
over top of them and say, you're
right.
not, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. Because you can only train people so much, and then you have to let them do it.
Right. I'm not going to say anything unless you're doing something totally unsafe
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something that will get you hurt. I'm not going to say anything to you.
yeah.
Once we get back from the call, hey man, we need to have a conversation. Listen, here's what I mean. That's kind of how I've done, um, and that came from being
And I think that's the only way to do it, Frank, to be
right.
honest. Like I said, I mentioned earlier, I cannot stand when anybody, like, and like, obviously everybody hears me cuss and shit, right? And there's sometimes, like, words are going to be talked and stuff, and, tempers are going to get flared and stuff, but like, you know, you got to keep that shit to a minimum. That we're here at an emergency situation. That is not the time to let your ego get out of control. Like that is the worst time to do it.
I mean, I've got a potty mouth anyway, and I talk fast at times. So what they call that Frankenese. So I'm cussing Frankenese. It's a bad time, but
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
I'm not trying to sit there and be that guy that's going to constantly nitpick and just be a pain in the ass
Right.
because just I trust my guys. I want them to get the experience and learn because you can go to 1,000 training fires all you want to, but you're not going to understand unless you actually go do the real thing.
Yeah, I mean that's literally how and I've explained that to people, right? Like I like cuz like some people we went through a weird stage before like it was very hard to try to teach people things because their first response was like, "Well, this guy thinks he knows more than me." It's not more that I think I know more than you. I know I know that I know more than you, but that's okay because I've been doing this for a while. They didn't teach me this in fucking ninth grade. They didn't teach me how to do this. This is something that I have did plenty of times, and I took the time to go like get trained and stuff on it. That's why I'm trying to show you so you know how to properly do it because yes, there's a million different ways to do things, but like there's only so many ways I think you can do things that are safe.
Right. And that's part of me step. Also, if I'm riding the seat for a fire or something, I'm stepping back and look at the big picture more often as well. Like I'm not gonna be like the first, second, third one of my crew in the door. I'm gonna be one of the last ones. I'm gonna still observe everything
Sure.
because it just the OIC maybe did their 360 and gave their report and whatnot, but it could have changed time I got there. It just
I mean, shit changes fast in a fire
right,
scene,
exactly. Just kind of
extremely fast. So when did so how long between you turning 18 and then how long did until you actually got into that officer role? Do you
like I
remember?
said, I was junior fireman. I was 2007. So
Mhm.
in 2011, I was 18.
Okay.
I believe it was 2016, 2017. I was an officer. I was a lieutenant. I've held that position ever since. Um,
Was it weird for you? Like, was it weird going from? And I always normally try to get people's perspective on that. Was it weird going from just regular firefighter and stuff, and then kind of being in charge of people? Was that weird for you, or was it weird for the guys, or was it an easy transition?
it was hard for me to remember. Hey, you need to step back and like
Hmm. Yeah, because you want to be in it, right? But you
command,
still have
lead,
that like
do that.
adrenaline. You're like, holy shit, we're going to
Right.
this fire.
I
Like,
mean, it's one thing for like I guess to manage people like outside of the fire service, I guess, because with my EMS job, I've held supervisory roles in every one of them. And my first one, they made us take online training for leadership training, that kind of stuff like that, like how
mhm.
to talk to people, how to de-escalate, how to resolve conflict, how to a bunch of other bullshit like that. But honestly,
Yeah,
it helps because and being a management of a busy agency, you get a lot of the bullshit. I mean, deal
sure.
with different people. I mean, citizens, families, other staff members from other places. So, but the
And
biggest
there's things that you're taught that like something that may be small to you is like humongous to somebody else, right? Like something that
right,
you're like, I don't know why this fucking person's crying about this, but to them it's a humongous deal. And now that you're in charge, you kind of have to look at it like, why do they have such an issue with it or whatever? Like, I have to figure
Yeah,
this out.
you have to bite your tongue of your own thoughts and actually figure out why. Because obviously you have to take care of your people. Because without your people, you've got nothing else. I mean,
Yeah.
you got the
But
fire department you can have a fire department with 20 brand new Pierces, 15 brand new PO custom ambulances, a nice station around with bidets in all the bathrooms and everything. But if you've got no members with leadership to run that stuff, it's useless.
that happens. That happens a lot. You have some departments with $3 million worth of trucks sitting in the garage that they're second due, that is running 1990 engines out the door, is running, 90% of that $3 million, the department that has $3 million worth of trucks calls. That happens, right? Like, just, eh, I honestly think sometimes, I don't know how to say this stuff. I think sometimes some departments get ruined. Like, they do, like, they're just so used to having so much nice shit and everything and stuff, and then I feel like they don't really feel like they need to work as hard with it. Then you have some departments that have less or just medium, and they really try to make, like, and what they have and stuff, and try to make it work because they have to.
Exactly.
They don't have a choice, or they actually value stuff and take care of it more. Because, like, if I lose a K-12 saw, well, let's say I knock it off the fucking roof. Well, yeah, stuff happens, whatever. But if I just carelessly throw it or whatever, I'm like, fuck it, they'll buy a new one. Well, if we can't buy a new one, I know I have to take care of shit. Same thing with your chainsaws. How
Exactly.
many
Mhm.
departments do you have that have all these chainsaws, have all this shit? They go on tree downs and stuff. They don't they don't have their work details, or nobody shows up. They don't do anything. Well, the next time they get a tree down, they go, and there's no fucking gas on the truck. Well, what are you
Or
gonna do once you're
or
already
it's
there?
cake full of tree sap and
Yes,
like
yep.
it's
Those
nasty.
saws got to be broken down. Like, those saws eat a
Yeah,
lot of nasty shit up. And, like, you just have people that don't care. But like I said, sometimes you have some of these departments that are less fortunate or whatever, and they're like, we got to make this shit last. So they actually wind up taking care
exactly.
of it better than a department that has a limited budget.
And that's like I tell a lot of people and whatnot, a lot of younger folks, because obviously I've been around. I've been in a lot of fire departments for a lot of different reasons, and we are so fortunate. And I try to tell these people, you have no idea how well you have it. Some of these departments don't even have toilet paper in their bathrooms, and
Yeah.
and you're just complaining because of this or that. And I'm like, you have no idea.
Yeah, well,
And
that's the
that's
thing, right? Is like, you have some people that are like, "Holy shit!" Like, I kind of wish we had this, and I'm like, "Yeah, but we have this." Like, just because, but like, and I'm like, and then you look at this other department, they don't even fucking have anything close to this. Like, still have some departments that are running car wrecks that don't even have anything to stabilize the fucking vehicle. Like, that is still like a thing that's happening. Like, but like, maybe because we run 42s, but then we've had people that are like, man, I really
we
wish we
also
had
as well.
I wish we had like Paratechs, and I'm like, Paratechs are really nice, right? I'm like, but then you also have to look at it like, are you going to spend $20,000 on you set of Paratechs and buy less, or are you going to spend $20,000 on Rescue 42s and have double the amount that you would have, right? Like,
We have 42s, and for what we need, they work great. They're very versatile and whatnot. Um,
the only reason why we have started to look into Paradox, like, we run 42s on our heavy rescue, the reason why we have started to look into 42s is they're just more versatile when it comes to trench rescue and collapse
heavy,
rescue.
and also not to mention with your larger vehicles, buses, tractor and trailers,
Right, right. The
industrial.
one thing that I really like once you get into a heavier rescue is, I think that the pin system is a little more, like, unreliable. Like, I like the color system and stuff on the Paratech rather than using a pin system on the 42s. But for an average, response, I think 42s are great, especially for the price point.
And you could, it's obviously because if you have what you would learn in that bus class as well.
Hmm.
Um, it's they're all right. I'm trying to think of how I want to.
How to word it. I do that shit
Yeah.
all the time because I'm like, can I say this?
There's stabilizing struts and there's lifting struts.
Hmm.
You can lift some with the 42s. You can.
Hmm.
So for what we need for that's great. Every department needs to get what's built for them.
Right.
I mean, for example, if your department runs 30 calls a year
Hmm.
and you run maybe one car wreck,
Hmm.
do you really spend money on rescue tools? Probably not.
Yeah. That's why at that point you honestly like you rely on your mutual aid, right? Like that's kind of like
Right,
when you're
exactly. It's just it's all what you need. What you need to get. I mean, it's great to have all the fancy spells and whistles, but you don't need to keep
sure.
up with the Joneses. You need to more so worry about what your area needs because
Right. Yeah, you have to look at it, right? Like, and it's one of those things where you have certain departments, they don't have a two-story fucking structure in their first due, but they have a ladder truck, and you're like, it's just kind of sometimes fitting in with the Joneses. You know what I mean? Like, well, this department has a ladder truck, so we also want one because we don't want to feel like we're left out, like we're not looked at a value department because we don't have one. But like sometimes, like I look at it like some departments, like if they would have like a heavy rescue, but like the only thing they fucking have is like these small little roads. There's no commercial vehicles traveling on it or whatever. Like you really need everything that we would carry on our heavy rescue. But we have a huge presence on the interstate. That's one of the reasons why we feel that we needed one. But like yeah, you have to base your equipment off of what kind of calls you're responding on.
and with the ladder truck as well. Not to mention, it's not just for firefighting; it's for rope rescue. You can use it
Sure,
for
yeah. I mean it's a versatile.
rescue itself. I
Yeah,
mean, it just. I mean, hell. I mean, if they want to use it as a blocker on the interstate, hey, you know what? It's big, it's bright, and it's
it is.
loud.
Yeah,
I mean, it's if they want to use it by all means, but
yeah.
it's
But
important to use your trucks that are intended to be used for as a multi-user. It's. I mean, that would be like I don't really know how to word it, but it just
no, I do that shit because I'm like, I'm gonna say something that I'm like sitting. I'm like, well, how do I want to, how do I want to say it? But yeah, so like you said, though, it's basically to sum it up is you got to look at your response, your typical response, and what kind of equipment you really need. Like if you are only responding on, you know, certain calls or whatever, and blah blah blah, you're not getting a lot of entrapment. You're not this and that. Do you really need to buy $40,000 worth of battery tools, or could you buy a set of hydraulic for $20,000 and you have a full set of tools and you can do whatever the hell you want with it? You know what I
you're.
mean? Like,
But it's just everything is like, and not to mention the risk tools now, and especially and whatnot now, um, for alternative fuel vehicle fires. If
mhm,
you've got a Tesla on fire that involves the battery, you have to lift that vehicle up and cool that battery. If that battery is involved, you're there for a while. You're using thousands of gallons of water. You might
sure,
call on a tanker task force, and not to mention, for the tow company retrieves the vehicle, it's got to remain cool and not ignite for an hour.
right,
So the rescue tools have a lot of uses, ladder trucks as well and whatnot. Obviously, look at the area you're in as well. Obviously,
hmm,
it's not just mutual aids also because you want to make sure you all can work together and whatnot. So it's kind
right.
of
Well, right, and that's my thing, right? Like sometimes you could look at a situation and say, well, we don't need a ladder truck because literally the department right next to us has a ladder truck. Or do we have to have this because they have this? And sometimes having a good working relationship with your department, mutual aid department, can work in your guys' favor because maybe you guys don't have the money to buy everything that you want, but you could buy something that your kind of area needs. Like you can buy this and they can buy this. You kind of work together with that because to be honest, none of us really have the money to buy the shit that we all really need or that your you know response like needs. Like there Mon County, I there's probably a lot of shit that we really need, we don't have, and nobody in here can single-handedly buy all of it that we need. So we kind of would probably need to do a better job of communicating and saying like trying to fill in those gaps. But yeah, like you said earlier, you kind of got to look at what you're typically responding on and try to base your equipment off of that. But so you kind of said that like it was weird for you to take a step back. Like you never had any trouble with the guys like treating you like oh Frank's not like just firefighter anymore. Like he's now our boss. You know,
I don't. I'm not their boss per se. Really, I don't like to use that term like I'm in charge of you. I don't like to
right?
use that term at work or on the fire department side either.
Hmm.
That's not my job. We're still part of this team. We have to do it
Hmm.
together. like I said, there's
You're
more.
just the guy that's gonna go to jail first if something happens.
I take responsibility for them,
Right.
and I make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing safely, and
Right.
they come home safe. That's like I said. I'm not really their boss. I'm more of like a coach, I would say, pause, because if I come in with a negative attitude and
Mhm.
treat them like shit
Mhm.
and micromanage them, they're not going to want to perform to their best for me.
Sure.
They're not going to want to sit there and go train and want to be around me or want to go on calls with me because I'm just like, oh, fucking Frank, so he's a fucking dickweed. He ain't gonna do anything for me.
Yeah.
He's gonna sit there and yell and bitch and moan and groan.
No, but that's good you have that opinion, right? Because like there's sometimes in every department sees it, like you always have that person that once they get that power, it kind of goes to their head, right? So like sometimes it's really, you know, it seems like you did a good job of, you know, recognizing that even though you are now in a different type, you have a different title, you have more responsibilities, you're still, on the same level with them, except for, you're kind of responsible for making sure that like they're taken care of. Because like we talked about, it's bad whenever you feel like somebody has to constantly remind you that they're in charge, right? Like they're in charge. It's going to be their way to the highway kind of thing. But
But in the same aspect as well, though, they may be like that, but
hmm
if they know what to do, I mean, it is what it is, boys and girls. I mean, if like them or not, if they know their shit, know what's up, and know what to do, I mean, like them or not, like I said, if it's station's one thing, when you're on that call, it's a totally different story and whatnot. It's
yeah,
no one's perfect. Everyone's got their flaws.
hmm
So I think it's important for everybody just to remember to realize that, and then also um, just kind of accept that. Hey, listen, he's not in this position because he's a dumb fuck. He's there because he knows
yeah,
what to do and whatnot. Um, so you just need to kind of learn to realize that because I think it's a lot of today's stuff as well. When we talk about today's generation,
hmm
they don't know life has pussified them so much they don't know how to take criticism or take orders from somebody who is
sure.
authoritative and assertive per se.
Well, yeah, because then that's the first thing is they're thinking they're like, this guy's fucking yelling at me. Well, it's not necessarily this guy's yelling at you. It's that sometimes I don't know. Like you always get some of these people like
Like
they're
if
like,
like I mean, no offense. I mean, if you're gonna sit there and extricate somebody out of a car
yeah,
and
yeah,
I don't want you to cut and you're in a car, I said, don't fucking cut.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's the thing. It's like you have to make that presence known to be assertive. At the same time, though, you don't want your
Yeah, you
you don't
kind of can't be in that position, but then afraid to speak up, right? Like, because like I said, at
exactly
the end of
right.
the day, regardless if you like it or not, if something fucking goes wrong, it's your ass. You
It's
know what I
on.
mean? Everybody wants to be the superhero on the call, but at the end of the day, especially in a legality standpoint, they're going to say, well, fucking Frank was in charge. Frank didn't tell me not to do that or whatever. Or, that's what it really comes down to at the end of the day is, you're in that position. You are now, if it's, goes to court, they're going to say, well, Frank was in charge. Why didn't Frank prevent this? Well, then the other firefighters, not like saying you're specifically, they're going to be like, when a lawyer's standing in front of you and they're like, you guys killed this person, blah, 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 blah. Shit gets really serious. People are going to be like, holy shit, Frankel's in charge. Why are you yelling at me? But some people can't recognize that, like, wow, Frank's the one that, that at the end of the day, if he tells me not to do this and I do it, yes, I'm going to get in trouble, but like Frank still could, is ultimately the one that's in charge. Still falls back on him.
Right. Someone's got to keep the order per se in the
Right.
chaos. That's the issue and stuff because we get on some calls. I mean, it's bad. Like, unfortunately,
It
it's
is, yeah.
bad, and everyone's just kind of like, "Holy fucking, this just happened." Someone's got to be in
Yeah.
there, take charge. Hey, listen, here's what we got to do to make this happen. It's all
Mm-hmm.
we'll get it done and we'll talk about it later. It's all someone's got to take their whether I could be whether I'm saying in a dickhead manner or not because I'm not trying to come out heartless, but at the same time though,
Yeah.
we've got a job to do. Feelings to the side till after the call's over with. That's I mean it's all part of that, and I take it
No,
seriously. Like I said,
I agree.
go in the court and whatnot and stuff. Every officer needs to have that mentality as well. That if this call fucks up because of my negligence or
Mm-hmm.
irresponsibility or just not paying attention or freelancing, it comes back on me. It comes after my house, my fire department. It's
Yeah.
just,
It's real, right? Like, and that's what's so crazy is like, obviously I knew about all this and stuff, but like when Andy came on, is like he really like gave me a good earful for it and stuff, and he was like, listen, he's like, because he's like to me, he's like the like godfather of like thermal imaging cameras, right? Like you ask him any question about it, he'll be able to tell you, and like he really put it like in perspective for me. Like you have so many people that they want to have the thermal imaging, thermal imager on their truck. That's a huge thing. Everybody's like, fuck yeah, I got a $7,000 thermal imaging camera in my truck. We're going to take it inside and search with it. Like he explained to me, is any time that you either buy one, either it's your first one or you replace one, anytime a thermal imaging camera is put into place, every single person in that department needs to be properly trained on it and it needs to be documented. Because if you go inside and you try to make a search with that thing, and you miss that person, that is getting brought up in court. And they want to know how the hell you missed them, what you did, and everything. And that lack of training and you not having that shit on the books will fry you. Like, everything has to be like documented to a T. Because, like you said, you're on scene and it is like hectic and shit happens. But, like, you know, it, at the end of the day, like you said, like the officer is the one that's going to take the fall or whoever was IC. But and some people like they want that position and that title and shit, but like they don't want to take the consequences of having that, and that's a huge responsibility.
it is. It's
It's when you really sit back and look at it, like if something happens, if somebody dies, you're ultimately probably getting blamed for it, and that's just the way that it is. But
any other
so
any other comments come in we need to address or anything, right? So everyone gets.
no, I think we're good. Just a couple like somebody just commented and said like ladder trucks are ISO points, and they're like in most departments, are doubling them as like a rescue, which like yeah, like some bigger departments, like obviously they're running their rescue tools on the ladder on the truck company, and they're kind of and some of that shit sometimes just to save money, right? Or
ISO didn't really mean shit to me, honestly, because there are ISO class 1 departments that do things questionable. There's ISO class 9 fire departments do things exceptional.
yeah,
It all depends on I don't buy that. It benefits the homeowner with your insurance. That's about all I consider as stuff, whatever. That's really it
it's a
because,
bragging, right? It's a bragging point. Like I said, some people are like, "Fuck yeah," but like at the end of the day,
but once
like
again, it just don't like I can put ISO class 1 on my fire truck. That's great,
yeah,
but what if I show up with a
yeah.
truck full of retards? You know,
That's
or
true.
I,
I mean,
or,
like you made,
or I don't put water in my fire truck. I go to fire
yeah,
with no water, or I go
yeah,
my packs are all empty or whatnot.
that happens. Yeah,
There, I have one train guy on my truck. What is that really doing for you? Nothing. It's a gimmick. I mean, we're an ISO class 2. You don't see us posted on our fire trucks and whatnot
yeah,
because it doesn't mean anything to us. What matters to us is our truck says fire department on it, and we
yeah,
come there, we're there to do a job. That's what we care about. That's
yeah. Like at the end of the day, like you're there. I don't know. It's fun. Like you're there because for the citizens, right? Like it's not like at the end of the day, it shouldn't matter if what other departments think of you. Like it doesn't matter if they're like, fuck yeah, another fourth the best fire department around because they're ISO two. Like it doesn't matter because like you said, you guys could show up look like a bunch of retards, but a department that shows up ISO fucking five shows up and like like you said, they're on the money. Like at the end of the day, like you're that shit doesn't matter. Like I said, like before, like it doesn't matter if you pull up at a 2024 fucking rescue and you can't cut the person out of the fucking vehicle, but you got these goddamn old boys roll up in a fucking 1986 fucking Chevy Suburban and pull a 1990 set of tools off the back and pop the door open. They just made you look like a bunch of idiots because you have all this money sitting here and they did it with what they had.
There's nothing wrong with that 'cause it's probably all they can afford, to be honest with
Right, but
you. And
like at the
it's
end of the day,
also,
like we said, there was like what
yeah,
you have or whatever doesn't really like to me matter as a fire
right.
department, right? Like you have some people that'll look at this fire department and be like, "Wow, they got older trucks, or their equipment's not like top of the line or whatever." But like sometimes you could have guys that are fucking Navy SEAL trained that are pulling up in this 1986 fucking engine, but then you have guys that are rolling in, like I said, Brandy 2024, and they have fucking four juniors, an officer, and some guy who's 76 years old in the fucking pack seat. You know what I mean? Like at
Uh-huh.
the end of the day, it doesn't like equipment stuff doesn't impress me.
And it's not your fire emergency; it's their emergency. So,
Right.
I mean, if their house is on fire, they don't give a fuck if it's fucking Nutter Fort, fucking Westover, friggin' Timbuktu. If it's red, yellow, white, indigo, polka dots with cow stripes or spots, it doesn't matter to them. They just want somebody that's going to do the job, help them put their fire out. That's all they care about. So it just kind of.
Yeah. No, I fully agree with you. Like I do. I threw some comments in there. I don't know if you can see them or not. Two people commented.
To Brittany Ice's comment as well and whatnot, I do agree with that as well. Um, for example, my friend used to be fire chief in Brooke County, which is up by Wheeling.
Hmm.
Let's say you have departments A, B, and C right together, um, and you don't like Department B, but you like Department D. You can't skip over Department B to go to that call. You have to alert
Yeah.
them as well.
Yeah. I've seen
Unless
that
it's
shit
like
happen.
unless like a specialty piece like a heavy rescue or a tanker or a side by side, a
Yeah.
boat,
Something that's got to
something
be
like
there, right?
they
Like
if
something
they
that.
don't like if
Yeah.
their department does not have that capability, that's fine. They are
Right.
alerted. But if they have the same capabilities departments C and D, they have to go as well, whether you like it or not. And I think that's going to get people in trouble some days because like I said, the fire service in the state needs some reforming between funding, assignments, training, everything. And this may sound very callous, but unfortunately, the right person has not died, been injured, or suffered a loss to warrant any kind of changes or anything like that. Like I said, once again, I'm not wishing for anybody to be injured, hurt, lose property, or anything like that. But until something like that happens, we're all just going to be, part of the good old boys club or be with the whole, we're going to keep doing this like we've done for you all since 1970 and be done
Sure.
with. You
That
know,
happens all the time, right? It takes
departments
somebody
I mean,
dying for departments to realize, like, holy fuck, like, why the fuck are we doing it like that? You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes it's a lack of ignorance, and then sometimes it's a lack of, I don't know if, like you said, just the way you've always did it. But like certain ways that you're doing shit is you're fucking rolling the dice every single time you do it, and you're hoping that you don't roll doubles, and
for
that's
example,
just the way it is.
for example, in our county, we could this could happen, and it has happened, not to this extent.
Hmm.
Um, if the closest fire department's not toned for a call because it's not their first due area, and the other department does not like them, they can be skipped. They have no control over that, so that's fine. But what are you going to do when that person dies or they lose their house and they know somebody and they come at you like, so please tell me what department A was 2.5 miles away and your department's 3.9 miles away and they weren't on your fire, but these two departments that are now 7, 10, and 11 miles away were on your fire. Can you please explain that to me, chief?
So my biggest thing, right, and this is like this is like a can of worms, but and it's real. Like I actually think it's just a real fucking thing. Is I absolutely despise out momentarily. And the reason why is I think it gives departments in their head that they have all the fucking time in the world that they want to respond. Because I don't know how your guys' dispatch is based, but ours, we get toned. We get toned. We have 4 minutes to give some kind of a response over the radio to let them know that we're responding or we're out momentarily or whatever. If not, then we get second alerted, and then sometimes they still don't tone second due on the second alert. They will still wait additional minutes and then tone that next due department. What is insane and kind of what I made the comment with earlier is like there's a lot of like things in my head when I said this, like volunteer where you live, because sometimes you will have fire departments that will come out momentarily and have members responding from across town to the department to then get an apparatus and then respond. In my way of them saying, well, we'll be out momentarily, in their head, they know, well, dispatch is not going to turn it set the next due. So if it takes us 20 fucking minutes to get there and then get a truck and another 15 minutes to respond, that's fucking bullshit to me. Like, I call 911 because I have a fucking real emergency, and you're telling me that I'm waiting 35 fucking minutes and there's a department down the street that could be here in 10 minutes? Like, that is insane to me.
We do a 3-5-7 rule. You're
Okay.
toned. 3 minutes your status check, like hey, you get on your tones, that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. 5 minutes you're retoned, and 7 minutes your next due is alerted.
Okay. And that's automatically, that's not like regardless.
Now, if it's like a medical call, because our county still does first responders on some aspects of it.
Okay.
So say headquarters ambulance so and so, no response from company so and so. You
Mm-hmm.
want that alert? They can say yes or no.
Right.
But if it's like other calls like that, they'll be automatically alerted or whatnot. And for the most part, in our county, um, momentarily is really only done by a couple fire departments, but they do get out when they say momentarily. It's not like when they say momentarily, it's no longer than probably I'd say 4 minutes later. And
Like,
some
I have,
and sometimes they say that and they immediately respond afterwards because they don't know who that
yeah, yeah, yeah.
around. So it's unfortunately it is what it is because where people live like in rural West Virginia, you live farther out from your station. Yeah, I know we have a call. I'm coming, but it takes me a minute to get to the station to get the truck out the door because my biggest pet peeve is I much rather you take an actual fire truck to the call rather than a POV. That's also a big pet peeve of mine is it's one thing if you have to drive by the scene to get to the fire station.
Yeah.
I get that because you like feel obligated to stop because you drive right by it. If you have lights in your truck and your POV or whatnot, you need to stop. But for the most
Mm-hmm.
part, get to the station and take a truck and then worry about the rest later. Because POVs are great. I understand some folks have gear in their vehicles or whatnot, but
Sure.
not doing any good unless you get a fire truck out or some
Right.
kind of apparatus. I
Yeah,
mean,
that shit has absolutely blown my mind before because I've been listening to the radio and you've had a fire department not get out but have members on scene POV, not alert second due, and because they have a member POV on scene, I'm like, what the fuck are you gonna do? Like, no, like even me, right? Like as much training as I have, and as much as I think that I would like to think that I know, I can still only do so much in my own personal fucking vehicle.
right.
Like, like I don't have specialty tools that I need to assist this person. To me, I cannot stand whenever I like, and I've had it happen. Like I've had second due or whatever. Like departments show up, like POV. They're like, "Well, I was in the area, or whatever, and I was gonna come help." And they show up, and they're like in a fucking cutoff, and they're like, "Come up," and they're like, "Whoa!" And I'm like, "Well, what are you doing?" And they're like, "Oh, well, I was in the area, so I was gonna help." And I'm like, "No offense, but no thanks. Like, we got it. We'll handle it. Like, there's nothing you can really do. One, you don't have any gear. You shouldn't even be near the incident because without any gear and you get hurt, by me letting you even do anything on my scene, I am now taking liability. So if you go over there and slice your fucking arm open, I just now let you go over here by this vehicle and slice your arm open. And some people don't think about that in their head. Like,
It all goes back to you to be an officer controlling your scene
right.
and managing people and whatnot. And like I said, that's great. You say I'm with so and so fire department, but are you really though? How do I know? I mean, if you're a volunteer, you probably don't have don't have a badge or anything. You don't have your
Yeah,
transcript with your classes on it. I
yeah,
mean, if you don't have your gear with you, how the fuck am I supposed to know you're not some Joe blow off the street hurting scanner land wants
yep.
to come try and play fireman?
We've had that happen. We've had that happen in Mon County where we were getting we got alerted for a fucking fire and we got on scene, not us, but it was a mutual aid. And we got there and some guys coming out of the fucking house, like the apartment, and was like, "Oh yeah, I got it." And we're like, "Who the fuck are you?" And he's like, "Oh, I was listening to the scanner and I heard it." So I got here and I seen the fire. So I pulled the fire alarm and I took the fire extinguisher off the wall and went inside. And I'm like, okay, like I'm like, I don't even know what to fucking say here. Like, good job. You know what I mean? Like, were you expecting me to say good job, or are you expecting me to call you a fucking retard? Like,
I
I
feel
don't like what kind of response was this guy looking for? Because to me, I'm just sitting here like, holy shit, guy. Like, you've been at home watching too many fucking videos. Hopefully not my podcast. But but like in my head, I'm like, how do you do that? How do you hear something happen like that, and you immediately think like there is trained professionals on their way, and I'm gonna fucking run in there and potentially become a victim? But to me, I don't know how people do it, Frank. I don't know.
unfortunately it's just I mean, you can't fix stupid. You're always gonna have the John Q public want to come in there and try and be a hero and try to help. And there's nothing wrong with trying to help or wanting to help. I think that's great. We're trying to help our fellow man, but
Mm,
at the same time, though, your liability, you just need to help
absolutely.
us. You can just step back, get back in your vehicle, or hey, block the road back there for us. Block the road.
Hmm.
Something, you know what I mean? It's kind of like when you have the frantic husband giving birth, go boil some water. I mean, kind of
Yeah,
like one of those numbers. You know what I mean? Like, good. Keep yourself occupied so I can do my job.
yeah, yeah. That's yeah, that's the weirdest thing. Like I said, like how people are just instantly, and I understand like you want to help, right? Like that's the thing is everybody wants to help. Everybody wants to help. But you have to look at like are you gonna do more damage than you are going to help the situation? Which if if a lot of people look at that, that would be very obvious to them, like, you know, what that answer would be.
You're
But
correct.
all right, Frank. So obviously, we went over, you become an officer and stuff like that, and then obviously supervisor, on the EMS side and stuff, and we kind of talked about that a little bit. We're not gonna beat the dead horse about the EMS and stuff, but I think we had a good talk. I think we covered a lot of things. Is there anybody you want to get some shout outs to? Anybody that really helped you along the way and is still helping you?
Um, my fire department guys and gals, you guys are the best. I wouldn't be here without y'all. That's all I can say.
That's cool.
It's thanks for taking that 14-year-old little retard like boy with a fanny pack and a camera and glasses and want to take pictures of your fire trucks and make me who I am right now because I'm definitely not the same kid as I was back then,
Yeah.
maturity wise and weight wise.
Um, so I normally like ask like a series of questions. I don't the same for all the guests. So like if you could just take one word, to describe that you would want somebody to describe you in, either the fire service, the EMS service, what would it be?
Um,
Like for example, I know that's a really weird question. Is like I like to be like described as like dependable. I like to think that like if I'm there, somebody can rely on me.
I would describe myself as me. No
You
one,
okay, Frank?
no one else is gonna be like. No one is the same in this line of work.
Hmm.
We all have similar traits, characteristics,
Hmm.
but I'm unique in my own ways. We all have our weaknesses, strengths, and everything like that.
Hmm.
Um, there's no way you can clone someone into me.
That's true.
I'm unique. There's no one else like me. I'm not trying to, be like Joe Blue off the street here. I'm not trying to, you know, try to revolve my life on somebody else's to make it my own gratification here. I'm just me.
That's good because I'm trying to be Tommy Gavin.
I mean, it's Unfortunately, there's more life than just fighting fires. I mean, it's
Yeah, but
but
no,
like I said, yeah,
I,
I would
that's
just that's
a
me.
good, and that was actually a unique response, right? Because like some people always go for the word, right? Like they always try to like think and break the dictionary out and try to think of like a word that like really thinks about like that. You're the only person that's ever said you.
I'm no different than anybody else. I put my pants on the same way as everybody else, whether you're male, female, young, old, junior firefighter, officer. I put my pants on the same way you do. I'm no
Yeah.
better. I'm no worse. It is. I'm just me. It's.
Okay. Um, and then last one, like where do you see the fire service in 10 years? Like, do you think it's going to be better? Do you think it's going to be worse? Like, do you
I'm.
think scared?
I am legit scared. If we don't do something to get volunteers out here, um, to be trained, help your fellow man,
Mhm.
run these calls, run the fundraisers,
Mhm.
be there for the community, um, do better securing funding, whether it be state, federal,
Yeah.
county, local, it doesn't matter. We're all fucked
Yeah, it's
because there's a
true.
lot of fire departments right now that are they are pennies away from shutting their doors down, and they are one member, two members away from being under the minimum requirement for members in the state. And I tell people all the time this. We've all seen the picture on Facebook or whatnot, with the house fire in the background and a fire truck in the picture and the lone fireman walking down the road. What if you called 911 and no one came? Boys and girls, we're getting to that time.
It's fucking true. Like I said,
It's
I can
scary.
tell you
It is scary.
10 years ago, like or not 10 years ago. I've been in fire service 8 years, but like years ago, right when I first started out, like there was me and there was an officer and there was maybe another guy that it didn't matter what the call was. We three were normally the only ones on the truck. Now, like I said, we're getting two trucks out consistently. Like sometimes we're leaving people at station. People are actually volunteering saying, "Hey, I'll stay back just in case we get something else." And we're like, "Holy fuck!" Like that's a
I,
thing, right? Like that's
when
a
I
thing.
first started as a junior, we staffed house every weekend, rolling out in 2 minutes or less.
Yeah,
We were going to fire every weekend, and you had guys for a second or third truck back in station, and it was nothing for us to get. We never got status checked, never got returned or
yeah,
anything. And now it's just hit or miss.
it is,
There's
man. And
people,
everybody,
there's people who've had families, they've moved on,
mhm.
they've moved away, they've just gotten busy with life.
Yeah, it's
Unfortunately, it is what it is. And that's what I don't think the people that say, oh, the fire departments are fine around here don't understand. We all have lives. I've got a 3 year old. Um, Other guys, they go on vacations, they go to camp, they have jobs, they have overtime, there's all kinds of other things to worry about. And I don't think that when people answer these questions, like, oh, hey, we're good. We don't need any help. We're good. They don't consider that because it's a fact. Whether you're Clarksburg Fire Department, Bridgeport Fire Department, Buchanan, Elkins, Weston, Morgantown, Fairmont. It doesn't matter. You could always use more help,
absolutely
um,
more money.
or change, or make some changes to make it better. Um, but I just, unfortunately, unless something happens, I'm scared because in 10 years I'll be 41 years old.
Mhm.
My kid will be a teenager. Um,
And they'll be coming in, right? Like they'll be fo- maybe following in your footsteps.
she she's around it. Her said her mom's paramedic. I'm an
Yeah,
EMT, and we're both certified firefighters. If she wants to be around it, great. But I'm not going to force it on her. I
yeah,
want her to be successful and happy and do what she wants to do. I'm going to support her. That's all there is to it. Um, like I said, these kids they're around it, but you can make them around all you want to, but you can't make them love it to want to join it or do it.
yeah. I
That's
actually
the
had a guest come
unfortunate.
on, and I actually asked them that question, like about the whatever, and then they were talking about their kids, and I was like, well, what do you think about when your kids join? And they're like, to be honest, they go, I they're like, I don't know if I want them to, and I was like, why, right? Like you love it, you did it for a long time, and they're like, yeah, they're like, but nobody ever, and nobody ever does tell you this, like the shit that you sometimes unfortunately have to see, right? And some of the exposure that that you get put through and stuff, and they said like they honestly like they didn't know if that was something that they wanted their kid to do because of the stuff that they have had to see and the stuff they've had to do and stuff.
Like I said, it's not all butterflies and daisies.
It's not.
They're,
It's
you're gonna
fucking
you see
gruesome sometimes, man. Like, and you have to try to sometimes keep a
how I
good
describe
mindset
is
in a horror movie.
you see a lot of bad things happen to good people,
Yeah,
and that's it. So I mean, you're gonna see a lot.
you're gonna do a lot. I mean, like,
Probably. I mean, unfortunately, probably a little bit more, if not the same amount of bad as good.
yeah.
Um, and it just is what it is. Like I said, I mean, in the volunteer fire service, I'm sure as destroyed marriages, destroyed families. It's just, I
Hmm.
mean, and
It has.
I'm included in that stigma. So, like I said, do as I say, not as I do. That's all I can tell you about that. But like
But
I said,
no, it's like I said, it's a weird situation. Like some of the shit, like if you would sit back and tell somebody some of the shit, right, they would like tell you you're fucking crazy. Like if to try to explain to a person that's
you
never
can't
been
make that.
around this lifestyle, that's never been, that's been isolated and never like to try to explain the lifestyle to them and shit, they would tell you you're fucking crazy. Like that was that it wasn't true.
You can't make this shit up.
You can't, honestly. But all right, Frank, I think I've kept you on here long enough as my victim. But I appreciate you coming on, man. I really do, and sharing your story and and opening up with certain things and giving your opinion, right? Because like I bring people on and like sometimes we have the same opinion, sometimes we don't, but like that's a good thing because like
Yep, that's part of
I
life.
I think that like we different response areas, been around different things, taught different, you know what I mean, and everything. And like sometimes you look at stuff differently, but then at the end of the day, when you have some of like the same people, like that, like you kind of still have the same like mindset about certain things, right? Like, and you can kind of recognize that by the way like that some people's responses is to things, and like there's some people not that I've ever had on, but just people I've talked to. There's been other departments and stuff, and like the response to stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck? Have been on a call with said department before, and we called them second due to assist us, and vehicle went through the median, rolled on its side, debris all over the roadway. Me and another guy are taking brooms and shoveling, getting it off, getting it cleaned up, right? Because I don't know about you, but our tow companies don't always make sure that the roads and the debris is cleaned up for And as soon as we open the road up, we open the roadway up. We Cars are coming back down it, and his response to me was, "Well, you're doing a better job than I would have." Like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm doing whatever I have to do to make sure that the person coming down the road next is safe. And like to me, sometimes like people's responses like that, I'm like, you're in the wrong fucking work. But
When you think it's
like,
you know,
you're like mind boggled. You're like, what? Like,
and like I
but
said, and my biggest challenge, honestly, in my life, honestly, I'm very OCD, very particular and whatnot. Um, I've come to realize in life that not everyone's going to do the
sure,
same thing how you would do it
right,
or what you would do. No one's
yeah,
going to do that. So I think the biggest thing to learn from in that, whether it be you're a firefighter, an officer,
sure,
or whatever, is just to understand that no one's going to be the same as you.
right,
So you can't really expect them to such a high standard because
yeah, yeah, yeah,
they may be taught that because, like I said, their home life may have been shit. They may have had no
yeah,
guidance or anything. So you need to just keep that in mind because, like you said, he said, better job I would have done. Maybe he was taught differently. Maybe he was taught half-assed.
yeah.
I
But like,
can't,
so if
I
that
can't say
happens, and I
not.
have somebody
So
with me
it's
that is like, younger, less experienced or whatever, and like they would hear some shit like that, and I'm like, listen, we obviously we do what we do for a reason, and the way that we do it, right? Like we were taught that way or if we have a higher standard than them, that's because we were taught to have a higher standard. Like that's how our department operates. Like and like you've said before, and we said earlier, like certain departments they're down here and they don't care. That's just the way that like they have always did it, and the way that they're going to continue to do it. And then some departments have always been up here, and they keep that standard. And that's just, and that'll always be forever like that as long as it keeps going. And some of these departments will probably be all the way down here by the end of their demise. And some of the time that is their demise, is that they don't care. So, but
You're right.
it's, yeah, I mean that's really what it is, man. It just, at the end of the day, I think you control your own outcome. But
That, John.
But all right, Frank. Like I said, man, I really appreciate you coming on. I know it's kind of a short, short time that we kind of set this up. And like I said, if you have any guests that you want to throw my way, I literally sometimes struggle so hard, and I sometimes don't understand why. Because I think that we in West Virginia have some of the best firefighters in the world here, and some of the smartest guys. And I would love for them to be able to come on and tell their story and kind of try to preserve some of that. I cannot tell you how many times I have people message me and say, "Hey, I'm not from West Virginia. Would you like me to come on?" And I'm like, "No offense, but no." I'm like, I base
Yeah,
this off of West Virginia for a reason, to try to highlight our guys here.
the female was postponed, that you had scheduled before
Hmm.
me. Another female I'd get in contact with would be Kathy McCrae.
Okay.
She is a professional firefighter at Loudoun County, Virginia, and she's also a captain at Amor Fire
Did
Department.
she have
Cancer, she's a cancer
short
survivor.
gray hair?
Yeah.
She had
Uh-huh.
breast cancer or ovarian cancer?
Uh,
I,
she's a survivor, yes, but she
okay.
drives a tower ladder and that kind of stuff, and I can promise
Okay.
you she will run circles around me or you on a fire scene. So I would say probably she'd be good to have on
That's
here. Just,
awesome, man. I
a
appreciate
female
it.
perspective, I feel like she'd be a good guest to have
That
and
is always, that is
whatnot.
what
So
I crave, because I know how dumbass we are sometimes as men on the fire scene, and I'd love to sometimes get a response out of some of our fellow females to try to think about how dumb they think we are.
right, and she's
So if we
definitely legit. So she definitely would be a very good female to have.
all right, well, thanks, Frank. Like I said, I appreciate it. Appreciate everybody watching. I think Frank looks like he's back in the recliner, like he's about to take a nap. So
No, no,
all
no.
right, so thanks everybody, and have a good night.
Thanks, John. Have a good day, man.
Thanks, man. Take care.